Joachim Andersen of Crystal Palace as well as Pierre-Emile Højbjerg of Tottenham. And the England team, as I say, unchanged: Pickford, Walker, Stones, Gay and Trippier, Alexander-Arnold and Rice, Saka, Bellingham, Foden and Kane. But before we get underway for this Group C match, there is going to be a mark of respect shown to Gerhard Eichner, long-serving UEFA General Secretary, who was German, who has passed away.
He sadly passed away today. Bitte erheben Sie sich von Ihren Plätzen, sofern es Ihnen möglich ist. Wir gedenken dem heute Verstorbenen.
And on those screens above the centre circle, black and white photograph of the face of Gerhard Eichner, 1943 to 2024. And the players break away now. The Danish players going to a huddle. England are ready to start. Matt Upson, Conor Cody up here with me. Izzy Christiansen is down behind the goal. Actually, Jordan Pickford's goal in the first half. He's walking directly towards Izzy, who's just over the hoardings next to the goal. The Danish fans behind them. A wonderful, colourful scene inside the ground. And here we go. England knowing that if they can win here tonight, make it 2 wins out of 2, England will be going through as group winners with a match to spare. But it is Denmark, ranked 21 in the world, who are up against them tonight. Bukayo Saka kicks off again, plays it all the way back to Pickford, who hits the long pass through the middle, and then Denmark fire it away downfield, and here's Rasmus Højlund as the pitch cuts up quite significantly actually there, as Walker chases him. Denmark played into the edge of the area, a low shot from the edge of the box from Højbjerg of Tottenham, but that's straight at Pickford, who's able to deal with it easily.
I mean, that's a massive chunk of turf that has just scooped up out of the pitch. It really has chunked up there from Kyle Walker as he just put the brakes on, but little indicator of what Højlund brings to Denmark that's a bit different. He has that running power. He'll work the channels as much as he can.
Yeah, Rasmus Højlund, who ended the season out of the Manchester United team. He was being used as a substitute, but he was Denmark's top scorer in qualifying. England give it away. Alexander-Arnold passing it straight to Victor Christiansen. Now the ball through the middle to Højlund, but it comes back, and now here's Harry Kane. As the ball is given to him, he just scoops it forward, and he has a first chance for Bukayo Saka to show what he can do, but the cover is there from Højbjerg, who's able to just tackle it out of play, take it off the toe of Bukayo Saka. Interesting there, when England got the chance, Kane got the chance, immediately looking to Saka.
He's looking to Saka, but Conor just gave me a nudge to have a look at the centre-backs, and Christiansen has gone across to the left-hand side, so he's actually started with Vestergaard in the middle, which I think is purely because of that, John. Christiansen, you say, is probably a little bit more mobile, a bit lighter on his feet, more able to deal with those one-on-one situations that England are looking to put Bukayo Saka into all the time.
It's white shirts, blue shorts and white socks for England tonight. Saka to Walker. Oh, Walker slips as he crosses, and there's another huge section of turf that has come up as Walker slipped, and the pitch surface does, well, I mean, the evidence suggests it's very, very soft.
It's just Walker though, isn't it? Too much horsepower is put into the ground. I think it's just churning the grass up.
Yeah, but that is odd. You know, we were told to look out for the pitch the other night when we were in where were we? Dusseldorf.
Yeah.
And it's held up okay, but already tonight this is a little bit of a concern, as Alexander-Arnold has to scoop the ball back to Pickford, halfway inside his own half, and Pickford goes for a long left-footed pass out towards the left-hand side. Good deal of scrutiny on Phil Foden tonight, and he's right over there on the left-hand side in these early stages. It was noticeable against Serbia how he was very central right from the off.
Yeah, I think having that width, we're talking about maybe not being good enough with the ball or happy with keeping the ball well enough. Well, you've got to make the pitch big, haven't you? Use the full width, and I think those wide players, Foden and Saka, really crucial to that.
And they really are stationed as wide as can be. Foden on the left and Saka on the right.
Yeah, just creates the space, John, doesn't it? Kane can drop in, midfield players can have the ball. And I think controlling the game is something that England will want to do well today.
This is 5 Live and BBC Sounds, live from the city of Frankfurt, the medieval and modern city of Frankfurt, with Gay on the ball for England in the centre circle. Mark Gay winning his 13th cap tonight. To Declan Rice, who's winning his 53rd. And here's Trippier, who we should mention as well, who is winning his 50th cap tonight. But a crossfield pass looking for the other fullback, Kyle Walker, was overhit by Kieran Trippier, and it drifts out of play for a throw on the halfway line to Denmark.
I think some turf chunked up in the middle of the pitch as well. I mean, this is actually going to be really interesting because it's just lying on top of the surface. So if a ball's rolling along and it hits it, it's really going to bump up in the air.
Well, I mean, we have had very heavy rain here, as has been the case all over Germany over the past couple of days or so. The roof is closed tonight, this sort of canopy-style roof. And I wonder whether the pitch was actually a factor in the closing of the roof.
Yeah, it must have been, because I think when Gary Flintoff was here a couple of days ago, they actually closed it during the downpour, didn't they? So I think that probably would have been the reason, John.
Here's Morten Hjulmand in centre midfield, one of the youngsters in this Denmark lineup of Kasper Hjulmand, the coach, who was the coach at the semi-final 3 years ago, and in Qatar when they were disappointing, went out at the group stage, finished bottom of the section. Denmark, red shirts, white shorts, red socks, so their first choice colours as well. Now Victor Christiansen on the left-hand side, Victor Christiansen back centrally. Over here it comes to Christian Eriksen, who scored the opening goal in their first match. Low ball in towards the edge of the area from Hjulmand, but England deal with that, and it's just stabbed back to Stones on the edge of the penalty area. Now to Walker on the right-hand side, and Walker with the inside of his right boot. A careful pass to Bukayo Saka, and England start again from inside their own half. As Stones, there's the whistling from the 16,000 Danish fans who are here in Frankfurt for this. As now Declan Rice, just inside his own half, passes it over the halfway line at close quarters to Trent Alexander-Arnold. If you've just switched onto it, if you're on your way home, just leaving work, it is 0-0, and England are unchanged to the same team. That's given away by Walker. Now Christian Eriksen, former teammate of Kyle Walker's at Tottenham, and then Walker into the challenge that bounces out of play for what is given as a throw-in to England, which is disputed by the Danes.
Yeah, Mark Gehi starting positively again, made a really good decision moments ago just to step in and deal with the situation. He really is being proactive with his positioning, reading of the play. He's been very good at the start of this game as well.
5 minutes played, let's bring in Conor Cody, who was in Gareth Southgate's last two squads at the tournaments. What have you made of the start, Conor?
Yeah, I think England are in control of the ball, they're moving it well, but I think Denmark are showing what a back five does for you. It solidifies you, it gives you a little bit of control without the ball, and I think you can see they're not chasing the ball too much. They're sitting in that little mid-block and they're waiting for England to make a mistake, like we seen with the crossfield pass before from Kieran Trippier. So very steady start, but England in control.
Yeah, it's a real flat back five, isn't it, for Denmark? And the more Walker slips again, more turf comes up on the right wing as he slams the brakes on. And you know, this pitch surface now is actually quite choppy. Alexander-Arnold's ball over the top, but too much on that, and the ball skips through to Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah, it's the run that Saka loves, though, isn't it? That out to in. If Trent Alexander-Arnold could pick the right pass with the right weight, he just gets that little run, and it's very much Victor Christiansen who's dropping all the way back in that left-back position and leaving the other Christiansen, the centre-back, a little bit narrower, so the space for Saka isn't quite there maybe to get it wide, and he's got to beat two players at that point, so that little run inside could be on.
This match is all over the BBC tonight. BBC One, if you get home. Guy Mowbray and Alan Shearer are not far away from us here, and with it being a BBC live match, you can actually sync up the radio commentary if you wish with the TV pictures and continue listening to us. Just look for 5 Live Euros extra on the iPlayer or the website or the app, on the smart speaker as well. And indeed there's also a Jamie Johnson option with our old friend Conor McNamara doing that. Denmark in possession, 10 yards inside the England half. Højbjerg now looks for a ball out towards the right-hand side. Naylor catches up with that near the dead ball line. Trippier comes in with a challenge, and as he just flicked it away from him, Trippier was caught. The Danish supporters don't like that. It was given by the assistant on the far side. Free kick to England.
Yeah, good ball across, but Trippier does well. Tries to keep it in there, but he just nicks the ball in front of him and wins the foul and takes the sting out of the situation. I think somebody's just gone scampering out of the England bench, John, to go and get a new pair of boots possibly for Kyle Walker. Yeah, I don't think he's too happy with the footwear with all the slipping going on.
And Kieran Trippier very much winning that free kick. We were talking to Alan Shearer this morning about about Kieran Trippier and whether he might have had an issue at the end of the match, and he suggested that perhaps that was out of the usual Newcastle playbook what happened at the end of the Serbia match. Now, Kyle Walker, who Matt mentioned, who has been struggling with his boots and slipping on the pitch, he has actually sat down on the field, and whether he's tweaked something or whether he's actually just taking a bit of time, and it does actually look as though he might have turned his ankle as the pitch gave way beneath him, according to the pictures we're seeing.
Oh, yeah, he certainly put a lot of weight on that outside of the foot. He slipped fully as the turf just chunked up in the end. He really did put a lot of weight on his ankle when it was rolled over.
Let's go down pitch side to Izzy Christiansen.
Yeah, I've just seen Kyle Walker signalling to Jordan Pickford when England won that free kick with Trippier that he needed to go down. He sat down, and it's given themselves the opportunity to get him off and get him into different boots, because like you say, Matt and John, in commentary, the pitch is starting to be a real factor, which wasn't during the warm-up, but it's good that Kyle Walker can address that, and hopefully can be back on the pitch any minute now.
Yeah, so he's off the field at the moment, and he is changing his boots, so it would appear that he is coming out of the field, but he's out of position. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course, is the ideal man out on the field in midfield to slip back into the right-back position. And Walker still is working away. He's got one boot on, he's got the other boot on now, he's tying his laces. Denmark 0, England 0 is the score. And Denmark in possession. Højbjerg with a pass over the halfway line, then it comes infield through the middle, but given away by the pass of Hjulmand, and England now are on the move forward with Jude Bellingham. Not really seen him in the action yet in the match, the man who scored the opening goal of the tournament, the winner against Serbia. Great deal of talk about him. He was the focus of attention yesterday when everyone was doing their talking, and here he is again. Jude Bellingham, 20 years old, 21 in, 9 days' time, on the 29th of June. Foden now on the left-hand side. Foden, little ball infield towards Alexander-Arnold. Kyle Walker has now been allowed back onto the field, and it looks as though he's okay. A little bit of concern after he went over on his ankle. Back it comes to Mark Gay, and across to John Stones. Very even start to the match it's been. There's been that one comfortable save from Jordan Pickford. Here is now Saka on the right-hand side, up against Victor Christiansen. A ball infield, and then Bellingham is eased over. That looked like a shove in the back from Højbjerg, and he's just tapped the ball out of play.
It's very sportsmanlike.
That was very sportsmanlike, wasn't it?
I mean, I think Jude Bellingham was on the floor, but there wasn't a problem with him. He could have easily just driven on with the ball there.
How odd.
Højbjerg, and he just rolls it out. It was a fair challenge for him. Actually wins the ball. Bellingham goes to ground, and in my book, that's just play on.
Anyway, play's back underway. England have given it back to Denmark, still 0-0. And it is Denmark who are playing from right to left, so they're attacking the end where the Danish hordes are. What a noise is coming out of there as they begin to bob up and down together. And here's Andreas Christensen with a long pass through the middle towards Højlund, who very nearly got away from Mark Gay, who did extremely well to recover, but actually the offside flag goes up.
There's that run, isn't it? I talked about Højlund before, what he brings different to this team, and he will stretch people. Just a little bit of an uneven line there, and Højlund gets between Stones and Guerhi. Yes, he's a fraction offside, but I don't think Guerhi really quite knew his position. He was a little bit more advanced than John Stones.
Here is Kyle Walker. Hope he's got the right boots on now, so it doesn't slip over this time. Checks back, gives it to Alexander-Arnold, who goes one of those passes high out towards the left-hand side, where Trippier takes it down with his right foot, plays an aerial ball into the penalty area to Bellingham, who pulls it down with the top of his shoulder, and then takes it back out into the full-back area, back to Trippier on his right foot. Bellingham receives it. Now here's Foden on the edge of the box. This is the first time we've seen England really getting into their stride in the defensive third of the Danes. Walker, then to Saka, right corner of the penalty area, just outside the box. Comes back to Alexander-Arnold. Saka again, but this is all rather static. And indeed, the ball almost comes to a stop at the feet of Bukayo Saka. Rice, back out to Walker. Walker's low ball into the edge of the area. Foden beats his man. He's into the area. A right foot shot wide of the top left corner. So often this season, we've seen Foden do exactly that and get into the penalty area and bury it. But that was promising.
That's exactly what we want to see from Phil Foden. the position where he picks the ball up. He comes all the way across past the middle of the pitch, picks it up more on the right hand side. The first little bit of footwork was lovely. He just chopped around the player, because I think he could have took it straight onto his left foot for a shot, but then he comes back onto his right, and it's hard to open his body up again onto his left foot to curl it into the far post. He's always leaning to one side, and the ball just rises over the crossbar. But better from England, the kind of pass. And I think Trent Alexander-Arnold had one chance to maybe just put that cross in early. It got set back to him on his right foot in a lovely position. With his quality, just stick it in the box. You've got Jude Bellingham arriving, waving his hand in the air. Harry Kane's in there. Put the Danish defence under pressure and make him defend a good cross.
Still 0-0, but that's the first proper opportunity for England. Phil Foden just inside the box, opening his body but shooting wide at the top left corner. Alexander-Arnold, that was awkward. That was given to him by Saka at waist height, but a lovely touch actually with the volley. And then Saka chases after it, and he's eased over by Victor Christiansen. But referee Suarez Diaz says no free kick. Take the throw, Denmark, which they do, back to the edge of the penalty area. But as well, with Foden, I'm thinking that that's how it's supposed to work. Foden, at one moment, he's wide out on the left-hand side, but then making the right decision when to come in.
Yeah, but when England are building up with the ball from the back, you want him wide. So he'll be on the touchline. But if the plays in general, he's drifted over to the right-hand side, then he's got that freedom to come into the pitch and pick the ball up exactly where he did, which is where he does, a lot of his damage.
Mæhle over on the far side, who was involved in the semi-final 3 years ago. In fact, 5 of that team are starting for Denmark today, 6 of the England team. Lots of familiarity as Andreas Christensen, the former Chelsea man who's had a good season at Barcelona, plays it forward, but that's won back by Walker, and then Saka's pass took a deflection, so it's going to be a throw-in on the halfway line. I think he's okay, Walker. I think it was just the boots, wasn't it?
I think he went down with the injury, shall we say, to be able to change the boots, and he then had to come off because it was going to take so long to change the boots. But thankfully there was nothing wrong in terms of him physically.
Yes, Kyle Walker, if you heard the Football Daily this morning, Conor Cody had a chat with him yesterday. I'm sure it's still on there. It was all very, very friendly. I would say Conor got a tremendous welcome from Gareth Southgate and Kyle Walker, and it was very much werewolf driven, the interview. Here is Alexander-Arnold in the centre circle. Alexander-Arnold, right-footed ball. He was looking for the pass out to Foden, but that was right onto the chest of Mæhle. So Denmark have the ball again inside their own half. 15 minutes played then. Still Denmark 0, England 0. And if you just got out of work into your car earlier, it finished Slovenia 1, Serbia 1 in our early commentary match. The game was played in Munich, and that means that if England win this match, they will finish top of the group. Denmark have given it away. Schmeichel played it out. Rice is onto this. Rice on the edge of the area. Back it comes to Kane. Onto his left foot. Kane with a shot, but that's blocked on the edge of the box by a falling Joachim Andersen. And Kane very nearly found the spot that he wanted there to take the shot.
It all comes from the pressure of Declan Rice. Goes all the way in, just like you see him do at Arsenal. That high pressure forces the error, turns the ball over, ends up with Kane, but I think it was Anderson, wasn't it? Just came narrow and just got a block off of Kane's left foot effort.
Yeah, he was just beginning to lick his lips there. Harry Kane, just outside the D.
He was lining it up, wasn't it?
A bit like those werewolves.
You're ahead of the curve on this werewolf thing, John.
Well, yeah.
Conor, I think he was playing it ahead of. He's got the app and everything on his phone. Seriously,
he's already mentioned that. He's been researching Annie before he got out here.
He's ahead of the curve.
It's all about the homework, Conor. Here is England in possession inside their own half. Alexander-Arnold comes under pressure, so plays it back to Mark Gay, who goes for long pass, just chips it here to Kyle Walker, and England forward towards Bukayo Saka, then infield to Bellingham, who lays the pass forward, but in fact Walker is on to Christensen. Walker's into the box. Walker pulls it across, double deflection. Kane, left foot, in it goes, and England have the lead. Brilliant from Kyle Walker. Victor Christensen was asleep, and Kyle Walker took full advantage. A couple of ricochets, and then the man pounces. The England number 9, the captain, the record scorer. He scored at the World Cup in Russia. He scored at the Euros at Wembley. He scored at the World Cup in Qatar. And now he's off the mark here in Germany. The Bayern Munich man makes it Denmark 0, England 1.
Well, it's just great from Kyle Walker. He's not half asleep. he knows what he wants and he goes for the ball. He just gambles, really. And it's Victor Christensen who thinks he's got the situation under control, the Danish left wing back. I mean, he sees Saka, he's got no idea that Kyle Walker is on the outside of him, charging down the pitch to try and win the ball, and he just steps in at the last second. I mean, it must be a real shock to Christensen. He has no clue he's there. Walker with his head up, the pitch caves in again. I mean, he very nearly lost the ball as the pitch ripped up, the turf came off. As he crosses it into Kane, it ricochets into the path of Harry Kane. It can't be any better. It's a little bit fortunate, really, the way the ball ends up on Harry Kane's left foot, but he's 6 yards out with half the goal to aim at, and he just sidefoots it. He's not going to get many easier finishes than that, but it's just about the pressure from Kyle Walker that makes the opportunity happen.
Denmark 0, England 1. Let's bring in Conor Cody for a view on that. It was not pretty defensively, Conor.
No, not at all. But let's look at it from an England point of view. I thought it was outstanding from Kyle Walker to keep his run going down the line there and just pickpocket Victor Christensen a little bit, and then obviously a little bit of luck. And I think, like Matty said there, he doesn't want an easier chance, does he, for your first goal in the Euros? And it's a good start for England, and let's hope we can kick on now.
So there we are. Harry Kane extends his record. That's 13 goals now that he's scored at World Cups and at European Championship tournaments, extending the record for an England player. Long ball downfield for England to deal with. Stones is under that. Here's Walker, who will, I would have thought, should get an assist for that goal, even though there were deflections involved. But Victor Christensen, who is the man caught out, the Leicester City man, receives the ball on the left-hand side. Christensen looks for the cross. It's come off Walker, bounces into the penalty area. Then the cross from Christian Eriksen, but that's blocked. And then Bukayo Saka in his own penalty area controls and hits it away downfield. So in the first match, England scored in the 13th minute, and they've got a goal in the 18th minute here. We said, didn't we, Matt, at the start of this tournament, it's absolutely not rocket science, but how important it was for Bellingham and Kane to contribute, and England's first 2 goal scorers at the tournament, Bellingham and Kane. As England go out to Mæhle on the right-hand side. Denmark, who took the lead in the semi-final 3 years ago, but England won. Here in Frankfurt, England have taken the lead in this second group match, and it is Denmark though in possession, and it is Andreas Christensen now over there to the right-hand side to Joachim Andersen. Mæhle again on the right flank, back to Joachim Andersen. England have dropped right back in possession on the edge of the area. Excellent challenge from Rice. Then in comes the challenge that ricochets back into the England penalty area. Trippier battling for it, which he does against Vint, and clears it against Mæhle, and then clears it downfield, and rather belatedly the offside flag goes up, even though Trippier was involved in quite a tussle there. And eventually the flag comes and it's a free kick to England, who lead 1-0.
I think seeing England after we score, how we behave, what positions we take up, how we can then settle the game down a little bit, or even be more aggressive and not allow Denmark to have a reaction. I think that's the important thing in the next few minutes. As I look at the tackle on Declan Rice a moment ago, really gets clattered up in the air, and again, massive chunk of turf all over the pitch, and Trippier using his body really well, actually, as he has to kind of manoeuvre his way into the ball.
Jordan Pickford goes long, looking for Kane, but Andreas Christensen wins that. And here is Christian Eriksen through the middle. And then little pass up towards Vint. Now Mæhle on the right-hand side. Infield it comes to Morten Hjulmand, no relation to the coach, Kasper. Mæhle with a cross into Trippier. That bounces out of play for a throw-in 10 yards away from the corner flag. That's down in the Danish section, where all of those red flags with the white cross are hanging at various points around the 2 tiers, in amongst all of the colourful livery of Euro 2024. Throw-in taken. Bellingham, just a heavy touch from him. So Vint has it on the right-hand side, goes for the cross for the outside of his boot, but it's blocked away by Bellingham out of play for a throw into Denmark. 10 yards back from the corner flag. Mæhle takes it back to Joachim Andersen. Joachim Andersen takes that down, knocks it infield to Christian Eriksen. Eriksen thought about the ball into the area, in fact goes cute. Now it bounces out back towards the edge of the box to Vint. Christian Eriksen again goes past Alexander-Arnold, then shoots, deflected up in the air. half-headed away by Rice, bounces near the penalty spot. Saka heads it further away, but only back to Denmark, and then Victor Christensen's ball across the penalty area is blocked out for a throw on the left.
Yeah, a bit of pressure on England. Danish fans really getting up behind their team, who've not really got hold of the ball since England scored. And they do need a bit of time and a bit of a passage of play of just possession, just to ease things a little bit. It's just balancing the game and kind of managing the game better.
That was poor from Denmark, heavy touch from Højbjerg, and it bounced out of play for a throw for England 10 yards away from their own corner flag. So far so good for England. Midway through the first half, England leading through that left foot 6-yard finish from Harry Kane, his 64th goal for England in what is his 93rd appearance for the record scorer. Højbjerg though, Denmark since the goal have responded well, and Vint with his blonde hair bobbing plays it infield to Hjulmand. Andreas Christensen to Joachim Andersen. Now Mæhle on the right-hand side, just gets away, finds a little bit of space. Christian Eriksen drops deep, he's found space as well, and then just rolls the pass back towards Mæhle on the right-hand side. Joachim Andersen puts his foot on the ball. Now Højbjerg with a pass out to Mæhle on the right. Mæhle came into the Danish side. Cross from Joachim Andersen into the penalty area, which is headed down, but John Stones was doing his job there against Vint, and it was a weak header down straight at Pickford.
Yeah, it was a horrible ball to deal with, I have to say. He does well, Stones, because he knows he can't head it, because he can't kind of move his feet and then jump to head the ball. He's just got to use his body back into the centre forward and just stop him getting a clean header, and he does that really well, John Stones.
So Rice now just walking the ball away from his penalty area up towards Saka. Declan Rice has a look, there is a run from centre field from Bellingham. Rice tries to find him. Kasper Schmeichel comes out to the extreme left of his penalty area and is able to field the bouncing ball. Just underarms it out quickly. Kasper Schmeichel, 37 years old now. Kasper Schmeichel, a grand old man of the Danish team, winning his 103rd cap tonight. Still not as many as his dad, who was up here in the stand with us. Mæhle on the right-hand side. Mæhle's ball down into the full-back position. Joachim Andersen now back again towards the halfway line. Højbjerg, Christian Eriksen. Denmark have really had most of the possession since England took the lead, but in comes the challenge from Trippier. However, that bounces back to Joachim Andersen and then back into the centre circle where Yannick Vestergaard, the other Leicester man in this starting lineup. And now Christian Eriksen on the edge of the area trying to find a position. England players dive in, stretch away from Rice, and then very calm, lovely footwork on the edge of his own penalty area for England from Jude Bellingham. That was classy, just to snuff out the danger. As England come with Saka through the middle, challenging on him. No, he's given us a free kick and a yellow card as well. Cheers from the England fans. Vestergaard yellow carded. That's interesting in the context of the game.
Yeah, it is. Vestergaard just caught there. Saka had the run on him. Once he touches the ball past him, he's only ever going to bring him down, and it is a yellow card. It's a cynical tackle. I think Saka was bursting through the middle, but Jude Bellingham, I mean, every now and then, he hasn't been too active in this game so far, but then he does something that you just have to marvel at, the way he just shifts the ball. I mean, it was so smooth with it one side to the next. He's got that lovely poise and balance and ability to move his body weight either side, and then the pass to Saka's wrapped in there, his safe side, it's inch perfect.
Listen, in 2006 I watched Zinedine Zidane play in this stadium against Brazil, and he was absolutely brilliant, the Real Madrid man, and that, what we've just seen there on the edge of his
moved like that,
was right out of the Zidane playbook. 1-0 England lead, free kick, which is taken short actually by Trippier to Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold lifts it over the top, stretched by Gay, but he couldn't turn it across the 6-yard box where Harry Kane was lurking, of course, but straight out wide into the side netting for a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since the goal, hasn't it? And England not really being able to be as confident and as authoritative as what they were before the goal in terms of possession, territory, and at the moment we just having to get about the pitch a little bit and defend the edge of the box, and we kind of penned in a little bit.
I can almost hear the armchair critics from back home. I know exactly what they'll be saying if they're watching this on BBC One. Here is Now Andreas Christensen to the centre circle to Morten Hjulmand, who plays in Lisbon for Sporting, just won the league there with Ruben Amorim. Then ball to the edge of the penalty area, flicked away by Foden. Comes back to Joachim Andersen, and again the Danes take over control of the possession. Højbjerg up to the corner of the box, still going into the penalty area, and then he has shepherded. No, he's not. He's managed to work it across to Pickford. Pickford came for it, didn't get it. The ball rattles across the penalty area and bounces harmlessly back to Pickford, who's able to scoop it up. Not terribly convincing from England defensively.
It's a hairy moment out of absolutely nowhere, really. I mean, the ball was kept in play brilliantly. It was Højlund Eriksson actually gets across the face of Pickford, who has to kind of break himself from taking him down, and then tries to feed the ball in, it ricocheting through bodies, and eventually Trent Alexander-Arnold just gets a nick on it, and it rolls back into Pickford, but it was a little bit messy. Let's go down pitch side again, behind the Pickford goal to Izzy Christiansen.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that Denmark are starting to dominate, because that man Christian Eriksen, he's at the centre of everything that Denmark are doing. I would say that the Danish midfield is dominating so far. They're starting to get a little bit of possession in and around that box, and they're doing really well. But I know exactly what you're referring to, John, with the armchair fans back home. I know what you're thinking. But on that occasion, if I am thinking what you're thinking, Trent Alexander-Arnold, excellent tracking in midfield to just stop Denmark getting through then.
Thank you very much, Izzy. Another England international part of our team here as Gay clears the ball away from inside his own penalty area, which Walker is able to get it down against Christian Eriksen. Then back into the penalty area to John Stones, across the 6-yard box to Pickford, all in yellow, left-footed, away towards the goal scorer Harry Kane near the halfway line. And then Jude Bellingham is surrounded by red shirts, and Hjulmand has won the ball back, and now Højbjerg. Mæhler's got space on the right-hand side. He's one-on-one with Trippier. In fact, he plays it to Vint inside the penalty area. Jonas Vint back out to Mæhler. Mæhler's crossed to the back post. Pickford calls for it, comes for it. There was no one there for Denmark. He went for it, just got a hand to it, and England have dealt with it in the end and cleared it away. Actually, Walker to Saka, and Saka's off on a run. He's off on a streak up the right wing, but Andreas Christensen comes in with a challenge, and the ball runs away, even though Saka ends up on the ground. Yeah, it was kind of going into a bit of a dead end. I mean, he's getting the ball up the pitch really well there, Saka, but he just ran out of space, and too many Danish players who are actually really pressing well, not giving England any time on the ball. We tried to play out just before that, but it was every pass was just not quite getting there in terms of the pressure was on, so it was forcing a difficult touch, and then the pass to the next person wasn't quite right, and the Danes turned the ball over, spraying it wide, and then all of a sudden we defend in our box. It's a difficult 10 minutes for England. Yep. England leading through that Harry Kane goal that was set up by Kyle Walker and a couple of ricochets. Kane, absolute meat and drink to him as he pounced on the edge of the 6-yard box and buried it away for his first goal of the tournament. Here's Mæhler though, and Denmark have been on top since then. Mæhler again, he's seen a lot of the ball. Vint on the edge of the area. Back it comes to Højbjerg, Tottenham man who's not really played too much for Spurs this season. Breaks into the penalty area. Vint with a chance. Gay comes across, and as the shot was hit, as he slipped, Vint, the deflection took it looping across the face of goal, but it landed on the roof of the net. Yeah, good reaction from Gay. The ball just spins from the middle. I think it's Trent Alexander-Arnold gets a touch, and then it flicks down into the feet of Vint, who's at full stretch, but he has to get across and gets a touch on it, which loops the ball up, and Pickford scrambling towards the back post, thinking it might just loop and drop into the goal, but it just bounces on top of the net. This pitch surface is terrible. It's awful, terrible. Isn't it? I mean, it's cutting up severely. But we didn't see anything in the warm-up, John. It didn't really carve up at all. Not that we noticed. Anyway, it's a corner. First, Eriksen was going to play it in, but the referee blew his whistle. There's some pushing and shoving, so Kyle Walker's been called across, and Andreas Christensen for a telling off for them. Yeah, the referee's done England a favour there, because it was a well-planned set piece, and they'd created the space. I don't know who it was coming round for the shot, but Eriksen played it kind of towards the penalty spot, and it was ripe for a first time, ripe for effort, and the referee blows the whistle. And they've given the game away. Now we're onto it. Absolutely. So therefore, Bukayo Saka is keeping an eye on Hjulmand. Eriksen then does take the whistle's gone again as it's headed over the top, and the referee's pointing at Christensen, I would imagine. Yeah, it might be Vestergaard. Anyway, the referee was on it. And immediately gave the free kick England's way. Yeah, well, they had to play it long into the box then, but the Danes couldn't have been happy with that. I mean,
you get one chance to play that kind of set play. They played the card and the referee blew the whistle.
So it is a free kick then that Pickford will take, and Rice receives it outside the penalty area, and back it goes to Mark Gay, who just has a little run forward. And then he actually then collides with Vint. He'd overrun the ball, it bounced away from him, and actually it's given England's way.
Well, I think it ricochets off Vint, but Mark Gay, he's just literally lifted up a chunk of turf and patted it down with his hand.
It's like the horse of the year show.
Yeah. I mean, he's overran it. He's not got too many options.
Crossfield pass, that's giving it away. Now Victor Christensen, then a shot from distance is in! What an effort that is! It's the equaliser from Morten Hjulmand. Best part of 30 yards, it fizzed low across the turf. Pickford diving down to his right, in off the foot of the post, and Denmark have the equaliser. It's 1-1.
What a hit. That is some strike from the midfield player, and it's deserved. Denmark have been far the better team since the goal, completely dominant, applying all the pressure, and you can just feel that goal coming. But I didn't expect it to be as good as that, John. What a strike. That's a fair way out as the ball comes out to the edge of the box. It's a poor pass from Harry Kane. He's trying to hit a crossfield ball, but he gives it away cleanly. It gets popped into Hjulmand, and he pings it with his right foot low. It's a real driving shot across the goal. It doesn't touch anyone on the way in, but bangs off the inside of the post and into the back of the net. It's a brilliant hit from the Dane. Yeah, that ball went into the net almost under the nose of Izzy Christiansen down there.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I was right in the firing line behind the goal. What a finish from Hjulmand, but the shape from England, a loose crossfield pass, and they just capitalised the Danes, and it was coming, as Matt said.
Let's bring in Connor as well, Connor Cody, who's here.
Yeah, I think you're right, guys. I think the goal's been coming. I think Denmark, since the England goal, have been fantastic. They're playing with a real narrow front three. I don't know if you've seen it there, yeah. Matty. The front three are really narrow. Eriksen, Vince, and obviously Højlund down the middle. And they're just causing England problems. Just in between Stones and Trent Alexander-Arnold and Declan Rice and Mark Gay. No one knows how to pick them up.
But do you think there's a massive shift between that of us in possession since we scored the goal?
Yeah.
I mean, before that, it's really dominant.
Yeah.
You get the goal, but then there's like a psychological shift that then we're not having the ball in the same fashion.
Yeah, 100%. And that just let Denmark into the game a little bit more. And listen, they've been fantastic since the goal.
Yeah, they have.
It was a fantastic goal themselves, but we just need to try and wrestle control back of the game a little bit.
Ball out of play for a throw-in after England are pegged back. Hjulmand equalising his first goal for his country. That's not bad, is it? To get off the mark like that. Best, as I said, best part of 30 yards and pinpoint into the bottom corner after Harry Kane, England's goal scorer, gave the ball away. Now here's another one forward for Denmark, just after England have conceded at the tournament for the first time. 5 Live BBC Sounds. Walker over the halfway line. Walker though runs into the figure of Christiansen, who comes out with the ball. Denmark have got their tails up here. Mæhle, then Vint runs away from Rice. The referee's given the free kick when Mæhle was running away with the ball at the England defence, and the whistles from the Denmark fans.
He's doing us a right favour at the moment, the referee. I mean, he stopped the play, it ricocheted into the path, and Mæhle's got the run, and it's probably a 2v1 with Højlund making a darting run into the box as well. I mean, that was an important intervention from the referee from an England perspective.
Yeah, he'll be kicking himself, you know, as a professional, as a referee. Yeah. He will know that
he should have let that go.
He should have let it go. So that could have been big trouble for England.
We're in trouble at the moment.
Yep, trouble.
We're not got to grips with this game. The space that the Danes are having in that area, Eriksen especially, as Izzy said, picking up the ball, and the midfield players are completely on top of it, and we're just having to sit off at the moment. We're not able to really get any pressure.
Yeah, having opened the scoring in the way that they did, England have just conceded possession, conceded space, they now conceded the goal. So it's 1-1. Here's Mæhle again, and then through it goes to the goal scorer. Hjulmand on his right foot again shoots, and that's deflected away by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Far too much space for Hjulmand.
It's all hands to the pump at the moment. Alexander-Arnold coming across to get the block, but the distance is so vast. He should be able to pick up the ball there, turn, have have a touch out of his feet, and then a challenge comes in. I just think in terms of midfield, we've got to be a little bit tighter. We've dropped off so much because we've got so deep. We've been under pressure, and now the space is there for the Danes to play.
England are rocking here, 1-1. Christian Eriksen, who created all those chances in the opening match from set pieces. Eriksen to the back post, a stretch and a header across, lands on the roof of the net from Joachim Andersen. Pickford stretching high but was comfortable, and Pickford of all people comes forward and indicates that everyone should just calm down. Goal kick England.
You've got to get hold of the ball, but looks like it could be one of the short passes onto Stones on the edge of the 6-yard box, and the Danes are 5 all the way pushed in. Eriksen's all the way in, and they're more than happy to come and press us in this area of the pitch.
It's Matt Upson, played at the World Cup for England, taken short. Denmark win it back on the halfway line, and now Joachim Andersen again. This is concerning for England, concerning for Gareth Southgate. Denmark have scored their goal, and they haven't dropped back. They've carried on as they were before the goal. Although England now forced them to go all the way back to Kasper Schmeichel. Left foot from him over here, but Walker in the air wins that well. Bounces across centrally. Foden comes over, and then Denmark play it out from the back, play it round Bellingham and Foden, and now Joachim Andersen, the flying mailer on the right. Trippier tries to get there, the cross is overhead and just drifts away behind, almost landing in amongst the Denmark fans. It's a goal kick, and it's 1-1, and we've got just over 5 minutes to go to half-time.
I think the space that they're finding is the concern for me. They're getting 1 or 2 passes off quickly, but all these efforts, I look at the goal, loads of space, time to get his head up, hit the shot. The second effort that got blocked, too much time to be able to get your head up as a midfield player and strike the ball from the edge of the box. You've got to get people out and put pressure.
Pickford goes long with this. Kane gets the better of Andreas Christensen, tries to head it to Saka, but that's intercepted, and Højbjerg is there. This is Tottenham and Arsenal, Højbjerg and Saka, and then Declan Rice is able just to take the ball off the toe of Rasmus Højlund and knock it back to Pickford. So 1-1 the score. Choice of listening is the Afghanistan-India match on Sports Extra right now at the T20 cricket, as Foden starts on a run through the middle. He's beaten 3 men, still going. Kane ahead of him. He goes for goal himself and shoots straight at Schmeichel, who's able to just drop down to his left, and Kane looks at him and suggests, how about the pass to me?
He's not happy, is he? That's as much as it gets from Harry Kane to say, why don't you pass me the ball? He made a run, and I think he felt Foden was just going to slip it to him, but Foden was on a run. He was very much off balance when he hit the shot. It'd been difficult to score from that kind of distance.
Yeah, that was dazzling from Foden.
It was. I mean, he danced past 2 or 3, didn't he?
Yeah, and probably felt he had the right to go for it himself.
Absolutely.
Having made the run.
Yeah.
But terrific burst, leaving Danish players in his wake. But the shot was straight at Kasper Schmeichel, the Anderlecht man as he is now. Here is Walker in possession. England just need to settle this now, and they are in possession. Foden, who's dropped deep and given it to Walker. Walker and Saka together on the right hand side. Back it comes towards Foden again. Foden goes infield towards Bellingham, who's certainly not had the influence in this match, Jude Bellingham, that he had in the first half against Serbia on Sunday night. Alexander-Arnold now through the middle. Foden, this is better from England. Whistles from the Danish supporters. Now back to Jude Bellingham again, and now England have got the ball inside the Danish half, but it feels like we've not seen this for such a long time in the match. Bellingham goes out towards the left hand side, and in comes the challenge. Bounces back to Trippier. Trippier's ball into Kane on the edge of the penalty area. That bounces off the captain. Rice couldn't get there. Actually, he did well against Vince, so England do keep possession. Bellingham again over there on the left hand side, flick round the back of his leg. Now Foden on the edge of the area, might be space for him, swings it in across the 6-yard box beyond Saka and through for a goal kick.
Well, it's much better control, build up, movement off the ball.
But where's that been?
Yeah, been popping it around. Well, it hasn't been there for 15 minutes or so, has it, since the goal, and it's really put us on the back foot. But I don't mind the fact that Foden got his head up there, tried to look for Saka at the back post. It was nearly a really good ball.
Let's bring in Conor Cody again. 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes of the first half to go, Conor.
Yeah, that was a little bit better, John Wayne. Just having a little bit of control possession, working our way into areas, getting Phil Foden in the game. I just look at Denmark and they just look really comfortable with and without the ball, don't they? They look like they know the formation, they look like they know what they're doing, they look like they're in control of everything that they're doing. So it's just up to England just to, again, wrestle that ball back again, have a little couple of minutes with the ball, especially to half-time now. It's important we don't concede another. At least you go into half-time drawing the game.
Yeah. But England lose it again in centre field, so Denmark have got the ball back, and the Danes are just passing it around England here. Hjulmand, the Danish goal scorer, but Foden has given it away to Højlund. Now Hjulmand to the right-hand side to Mæhle, again Hjulmand. Højbjerg picks out Mæhle. Mæhle's right-footed cross towards Højlund. Gay does extremely well to win the header under pressure from that strong young number 9, Rasmus Højlund. Excellent defensive header from Gay.
That was a brilliant header, full stretch, really got up high. I mean, people talk about his height. He's not the tallest centre-back you've ever seen, but he doesn't half get up well and head the ball.
England could do with half-time.
Absolutely.
Just to as Eriksson from deep to Højlund on the edge of the penalty area, his Manchester United teammate. Then it comes back for a curling shot, which is straight at Pickford, who's able to pull it down. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg from round about 25 yards went for the curler, but too close to Pickford.
They've got to get to grips with Eriksson. He's just pulling strings, he's getting on the ball, he's making moves, he's playing passes. The distances just haven't been there at all from England. We've not been able to really stop the Danes, and we've just given the ball away quite loosely.
Giving it away again, so Højbjerg gives it to Højlund, who's on the left-hand side up against Stones and Walker. Højlund pulls it across past the 2 Manchester City men, but it's straight at Rice, and Rice is in danger of losing it on the edge of the box, although I think... Did he get the free kick? No, he didn't.
No.
He didn't get the free kick. He was millimetres away from giving the ball away. Great cheer as the ball is won brilliantly for Denmark by Vestergaard, who comes forward and nods it through, but Pickford has got it at his feet. We've got 20 seconds of the first half to go, and at the moment I think these thousands and thousands of England fans all around this stadium will be thinking and hoping this doesn't get any worse for England before half-time. 1-1, full of promise when Harry Kane gave England the lead in the 18th minute, but since then Denmark have dominated. Hjulmand with the equaliser, and you could argue that they are fortunate that they aren't behind in this match. Walker. Here is Bellingham. Again, stating the obvious, England need to get Bellingham more involved in the game. Bellingham through to Foden. Now Saka. Little pass to Kane. Kane looks for Saka, but actually keeps possession, and he's being followed by Christensen, Victor Christensen. Then Alexander-Arnold is caught in possession by Christian Eriksen. Kane still out here on the right-hand side. Kane turns it in field, and then Walker. Declan Rice just forward of the centre circle. 1 minute of added time at the end of this first half, so just seconds left now, but England on the attack. Alexander-Arnold on the right. Here's the cross right across the penalty area, all the way to Trippier in the full-back position on the far side. Mark Gay's joined the attack out there on the left. Infield towards Rice. Now it's Denmark defending. Final seconds of the first 45 minutes plus. Saka now on the right-hand side. Saka turns away from the penalty area, back into Foden on the edge of the box. Foden goes for the curler, but it tips over the top of the crossbar with Kasper Schmeichel standing with his hands wide apart in the air. Knew it was safe, and there we are, 1-1. But that felt like Denmark's half, Matt Upson.
Oh, absolutely so. I mean, we started really well, looked in control, was passing the ball out, had a bit of structure, had some discipline in terms of our shape and stretching the pitch, get the goal. And then honestly, John, since that goal, it's just been completely different. England have sat off, not been able to get hold of the ball. Denmark's reaction was absolutely brilliant, and they've just completely dominated the rest of the first half.
Yep, Mark Chapman here in Frankfurt will have many more questions for you, Matt, and for Conor Cody, and for Izzy Christiansen. But I think the England players' body language as they left the field, I think told the story. They were heads down, they looked a little rattled, I have to confess. And at half-time, here in Frankfurt, Denmark 1, England 1 is the score. Mark.
Well, you talk about body language. Let's go down to Izzy Christiansen pitch side, because a lot of that first half. I was watching the England midfield in particular, but there's a lot of gesturing to each other. There's a lot of sort of arms outstretched. No, I wanted it here. Why aren't you pressing there? There's a lot of frustration amongst that England team.
Yeah, a lot of discussions happening right inside this 18-yard box. I've been behind Jordan Pickford for that first 45, and the communication between him, John Stones, Declan Rice getting involved. Gay's kind of kept out of it. He's been pretty, away from it. But there's been a lot of chat, a lot of chit-chat, and like you say, Chapper, some negative body language. But Denmark have absolutely suffocated us in the centre midfield, and that is why Denmark have started to get on top of us. And half-time is the best thing that's probably going to happen for Gareth Southgate at the moment, to get the opportunity to just compose the players again, have the right discussions in there, and come out much better than they were in that first.
And what I was going to say to you, Matt, even when we were talking about when England did have a bit of possession before the goal, they didn't look anywhere near as fluid and attack-minded as Denmark did when they had that. It's all very well having it, but there was a lot of sideways back. Denmark had it, and their first thought is, let's break the lines.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've got somebody in there who's passing balls forward. They're accurate passes. They've got a runner in Højlund. Mailer on the right-hand side is getting very high and wide, is stretching the pitch. But I think there's something about what, as he said, in terms of out of possession. You've got Eriksen dropping in there, and you have to say he's doing a better job of making those overloads than what we do when we have the ball. And I think we're looking to each other to really kind of see whether or not anyone's going to go to the ball. I don't think we're quite clear of whose responsibility it is to go and put the press. We've not quite got that balance in the midfield.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with Matt. What we thought Denmark were going to do was play Christian Eriksen as a 10 on his own. They're kind of playing with a narrow front three, so Eriksen and Vince are both dropping kind of in a box with the midfield, with Hjulmand and Højbjerg in centre midfield. So they're killing us with that. So we need to try and make sure we're getting bodies up to the ball, to be compact, to stop the ball coming between the lines. Big Yannick Vestergaard's played some lovely passes through the lines to Vin, and he's been on the half turn and attacking us with one pass. So we've got to try and get a hold of that. But I think the best thing for us now is half time. Get in, regroup, have a chat, see where we're going wrong, and come out with a different mindset second half.
Feels like from what the three of you are saying here, Matt, that this is more a tactical thing than necessarily a I know that social media are going, oh, this player, that player, etc., etc. But it's what we talked about pre-match. Kind of formations here. If one of you gets it right, you can cause an awful lot of damage to the other one.
Absolutely, and I think there is an overload in there. It's not being dealt with. It needs to be addressed, I would say, because there's not enough pressure on the ball. I mean, you can say you're going to be defensive and sit off, and the ball's in and around the halfway line, there's no pressure, and that's the way you're going to play. But Danish players, like you've just mentioned, Wim, Eriksen, the goal scorer Hjulmand, getting on the ball, turning, getting his head up, having a touch, and all of a sudden you can have a shot, there's a pass, there's nobody out there applying pressure, and that can't be right, Connor. Yeah,
and the thing with this sometimes, Matt, is that when you just said there about getting up to the ball, sometimes you might not be able to get up to the ball. Someone can talk and say, right, we stay in, but you stay compact, you stay together, and you wait for the right time to get up to the ball. We're trying to get up to the ball, and we're a little bit in between at the minute. We're going and we're half and half, and it's just opening up spaces for the midfield.
But as a centre-back, you'd be screaming at your midfield players. 100%. But because the best thing for you is that there is pressure on the ball. 100%. It allows you to do your job.
Without a doubt,
when there's no pressure on it, everyone's uncertain.
Without a doubt, and as a defender as well, you want to set that pressure, you want to scream to Harry Kane, right, hold, and now we go. Now's the time to go, and then you can step yourself up the pitch.
Is he?
Do you know what it feels like for that English midfield at the moment? Feels like you're in a tumble dryer. You're getting spun around, and that is what Denmark are doing to us. And they need to get a grip of that quickly. And what I've noticed tactically, and one of the reasons why I think Denmark are on top of us at the moment, they're very compact centrally. When they win the ball back, they're switching the play as quickly as possible, and it's catching England right out of shape. And England need to address that quickly by getting the fullbacks in tighter. Like Kyle Walker and Trippier need to come in tighter when the ball's on the opposite side, because at the moment England can't deal with the switch.
And then the other thing they have as well, Izzy, they do have an outball with Højlund if he's working the channels, don't they? Particularly if they're not putting pressure on the ball further back in the Danish formation.
Yeah, his attitude is exceptional. I've been watching him for this first 45 and he's peeling off onto John Stones and he's constantly alert. Where's the space? Where is the space? And he's spinning in behind because he knows in Højbjerg and Eriksen in particular in the midfield for Denmark, they're going to put the ball into a space with a nice weight on it that he can attack the ball, and it's really challenging England at the back at the moment.
It just feels like they have options.
Yeah.
If they're not going to spin it in behind, they can get it out wide, switch it, as Izzy mentioned, to Mele. If it doesn't go there, there's a midfield player that's found a little space. When you've got the ball, as a defender for Denmark, it actually looks like a sweet shot selection, isn't it? Of like, oh, I've got a pass there, I can go wide, I can maybe go long, and there's options for Denmark.
And what I will say is that's what that formation does. I've been lucky enough to play that formation in Wolves over the years, and that's what that formation does. It gives you options, and if you're comfortable without the ball, and if you're comfortable sitting in mid-block, when you get the ball, there's always space to play forward. And this Denmark team have played this formation for years, so they know it inside out, and I think you can see with the first 45 that they do know it inside out.
I mean, the other thing at times as well, England played with 12 given the referee.
He has done us a favour.
Wow, he's made some interesting decisions on 2 or 3 occasions, which hasn't pleased those banks and banks of Danish fans clad in red behind Izzy, where she is, behind the goal that Jordan Pickford has been in for that first 45 minutes. But despite all of that, it's Denmark 1, England 1. England would have 4 points at the end of today if the score stays as is. But England have had fewer shots and less possessions than the Danes at the end of that first half. 5-6 in the UK, 5-7 here in Germany. Nick Hatfield has the news update.
The voice of the UK.
And the home of the Euros and the general election 2024.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Good evening. The BBC has learned that the party's director of campaigning for the Conservatives, Tony Lee, is being looked into by the Gambling Commission about alleged bets on the date of the election. He's married to Laura Saunders, a Conservative candidate who is also the subject of inquiries by the betting industry regulator. Our correspondent Gary O'Donoghue reports.
It is not known when the alleged bet involving Tony Lee and Laura Saunders was placed, or how much it was for. A third Conservative, Craig Williams, who was Rishi Sunak's parliamentary private secretary, is also being looked into after he placed a £100 bet, an action he himself apologised for and described as a huge error of judgment. Opposition figures have unsurprisingly pounced, with the Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer calling on the Prime Minister to suspend Laura Saunders, saying if it were one of my candidates, their feet wouldn't have touched the ground. For the Liberal Democrats, Sir Ed Davey described the allegations as quite awful and called for a Cabinet Office investigation.
The Post Office has apologised for publishing the names and addresses of 555 postmasters prosecuted during the Horizon IT scandal. The company confirmed personal details were shared in a document on its website, and it has referred itself to the Information Commissioner's Office. And the Bank of England has held interest rates at 5.25% for the 7th time in a row. The bank's Governor, Andrew Bailey, says it's good news inflation has returned to their target of 2%, but they want to make sure price rises stay low. That's the news. Ellie Brennan has the travel.
In the latest travel news, the M42 northbound, you've got stop-start traffic between junction 3A at the M40 interchange and junction 4. There was a broken down car there earlier. Looking very slow though back to Redditch at junction 3 and on the M40 northbound as you approach the M42. That's very heavily congested. The M1 southbound, 2 lanes are closed between junction 14 at Milton Keynes and 13. Emergency barrier repairs there, really slow traffic going through. And in Essex, the A12 northbound is closed. That's between junction 16 and 17. There's been an accident there, queuing traffic on the approach to that. Ellie Brennan, 5 Live Travel.
Calling all Glastonbury fans.
Myself, Annie McManus,
and me, Nick Grimshaw,
are fully going in on Glastonbury
with very special guests.
Emily Nevers.
We have a local cheesemaker who has a really reliable weather forecast.
Shania Twain.
I'm considering riding a horse to the stage.
Join us for weekly bonus episodes.
We're going to have all the festival chat,
all the action,
all the backstage goss.
Sidetracked by Glastonbury.
Listen first on BBC Sounds.
Euro 2024 Deutschland.
With Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
Denmark 1, England 1 at the break. In the other game in that group earlier on, that also finished 1-1 between Slovenia and Serbia. We have Italy, Spain still to come this evening. We'll go to our commentary team at that one shortly. First to India, Afghanistan in the men's T20 World Cup. Fraser Mohammed.
Well, interestingly enough, it's India in control. 35-3 are Afghanistan after 6 overs, struggling in pursuit of that Indian total. 181-8. Surya Kumar Yadav with 53. 3 wickets for Rashid Khan, 3 for Fazal Haq Farooqi. But Afghanistan dependent on their middle order. They're struggling. 35-3 after 6 overs.
Thanks for Zia Sports Extra. If you want to listen to that, big win at Queen's today for the new British number 1 Jack Draper. He defeated defending champion Carlos Alcaraz. Kyprios narrowly beat Trawlerman in the Gold Cup at Royal Ascot. And after winning Olympic cycling gold in both Rio and Tokyo, Katie Archibald will not be in Paris. She fell yesterday in her garden and she now needs surgery because she broke her ankle, her fibula and tibia in that accident. Second half on the way from here in Frankfurt, and then we'll be in Gelsenkirchen for Italy against Spain. Our commentary team of Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton are already there. How do you view this one, Ian?
Looking forward to it, Mark. I think Spain, after the opening set of matches, were along with Germany, were one of the most impressive of the teams that we saw. So can they build on that against the defending champions? Obviously it's a tough group, and they both know after their opening victories that another 3 points today will see them into the knockout stages. So I think it's going to be a really entertaining game.
They both had their tough moments, didn't they, Chris, in their opening games? I mean, Spain didn't have it all their own way against Croatia, and Italy fell behind to Albania.
Yeah, I think there's still room for improvement, but winning the opening games in tournament football is of such great importance. I mean, this is going to be fascinating, though, because I think going into the Euros, I don't think many people fancied Spain or Italy to win it, but I still think they both showed enough in their opening games to know that they can improve, and that Ian's quite rightly touched on the importance of winning this game to go through to the knockouts. That's massive, but it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Spain or Italy actually winning the Euros. They have, both teams have great quality and interesting managers.
Are you what do you mean by interesting managers?
Well, I mean, they're sort of similar positions. I think they're both teams in transition. De La Fuente, in truth, I hadn't heard a lot about him. I know that he took the Spanish junior teams and had great success there. So getting the job, the full Spanish job, that's great faith from the Spanish FA. But I mean, they looked pretty handy against Croatia, and Spalletti, I think, did James Horncastle not say that he's the best manager in the tournament? Yeah, the best manager in the tournament. Yeah. We know he likes to play front foot football, all about performance. He was disappointed. He came out and said he was disappointed with the performance in the first game, albeit, we saw Albania, and I mean, they ran Italy close, and we saw what they did to Croatia yesterday. This is the group of death. I thought this was always going to be the tightest group, but tonight is going to be enormous in terms of whoever wins is already through. Whoever loses, though...
You wouldn't have expected Croatia to be on 1 point after 2 games, though, would you?
Well, I wrote them off at the start of the tournament, so I would have
done. Speaking of your predictions, can I just say what a joy it was to read your prediction for the France-Netherlands game that's coming up tomorrow on the BBC Sport website. I wouldn't normally point people in the direction of your predictions, but if you've got 30 seconds a minute to read Chris's view, Dr. Chris's view on Kylian Mbappe's broken nose and how that might affect the French, it is well worth reading on the BBC Sport website.
Can I also just quickly say, Mark, I also say, that isn't a great read, but you're lucky we're here tonight because we couldn't get out of the hotel car park. Producer Rob and Ian Dennis couldn't get out for 15-20 minutes.
It's Rob's first tournament.
Couldn't even get out of the barrier. Honestly, I videoed it all. I may put it on socials.
Do you know what, though, Mark? I said to Chris, I said, we'll meet in the garage, the car park, at 5 o'clock. He was waiting in reception. Me and Rob are on time, in the right place, right. It's all Chris's fault. This is now called a deflection technique.
It's a great watch. I'll send it to you later.
Okay. could be a long night listening to Italy-Spain on 5 Live, but
tomorrow's the longest day.
Yes, very good.
Tonight's the longest night.
It is in Gelsenkirchen, and we will be with those two a little bit later on. England and Denmark both back out, and there are no changes, John Murray, for either side, but you did wonder whether there might be tweaks for England.
You did, and I can tell you it's a very tight car park that we've got in Essen. So I'm with Ian and Rob. Right, Denmark were out for the start of the second half as they looked like they couldn't wait to get going. No changes. England were late out of the dressing room, or longer out of the dressing room, as though they were a little bit trepidatious about what might lie ahead. So the teams are the same. Schmeichel in goal for Denmark, Joachim Andersen, Andreas Christensen, Yannick Vestergaard. There's the whistle for the start of the second half. Mæhle on the right, had so much space and time, Mæhle. Victor Christiansen on the left, who was caught out for the England opening goal. Hjulmand and Højbjerg in the middle, and then, as Conor Cody's been describing, Eriksson and Vint with Højlund in a sort of spearhead as an offside flag goes up against the Danes. And England, we did whether Gareth Southgate might do something. Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones, Gay and Trippier, Alexander-Arnold and Rice, Saka, Bellingham, Foden, and Harry Kane, the England goal scorer, through the middle. We thought, would he bring perhaps Gallagher, Mainoo, but he's sticking with Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, they're back out after half-time. Very similar shape, similar personnel. Rice a little bit more central, Alexander-Arnold and Jude Bellingham. Be interesting how they get to grips with that so important middle of the pitch in this second half. It really is going to be key to the outcome.
Second group match this. Denmark 1, England 1. But this feels like a massive half for England that lies ahead here. They are top of the group with 3 points. Slovenia on 2, Denmark and Serbia on 1. But Denmark have dominated this since England took the lead, strangely. And here they come again on the right-hand side. Mæhle's ball into the penalty area. Still Denmark, left foot shot, that's deflected across the goal. Højlund's after it, Stones heads it away. And England have just about dealt with it. In fact, it's been kicked up in the air by Trippier and caught by Pickford. That does not bring confidence to all of the England fans around this stadium.
Well, Vint picks up an unbelievable position to get on the ball.
Alexander-Arnold is very fortunate, I think, to get a foul from the referee. Højbjerg, I thought he'd given it away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he had too much of a picture when he received the ball from Pickford on his back foot. There's not really much of an idea about where that ball's going, and nearly got robbed. I'm not even sure if that was a foul, John, to be honest, but the chance before, it was Vint who just peeled off into that area. Whether it's Eriksson, you know that Højlund's going to be the one that's stretching, but Vint is a problem. He just keeps picking up lovely little positions, making himself available, and they're just feeding the ball into him, and then he can get his head up and play.
Matt Upson, England World Cup player. Conor Cody is up here as well, who's been in Gareth Southgate's last 2 squads at the Euros and the World Cup. And Declan Rice is surrounded by red Danish shirts and loses possession, and the Danes have got it again. And I must say, we talked in the first half, at the end of the first half, about how important it was for Gareth Southgate to get them in and regroup. The opening moments of the second half are not promising for England, although Gay steps forward, and now Kane under pressure from Andreas Christensen is able to find Saka on the right-hand side. Ball fortunately deflects to Walker, could have gone anywhere. Back to Kane, England approaching the edge of the penalty area. Here is Saka, little ball to Harry Kane on the right-hand side. Kane, who scored his 64th England goal in the first half. Then back to the halfway line, and England go back into the centre circle. They're attacking now towards the stand that is absolutely packed. It's splashed with red and a little bit of white in there as well. The Denmark end, 16,000 supporters. John Stones now to Kyle Walker, then back centrally to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Rice has a look over his shoulder, gives it back to the Liverpool man who's given it away, misplaced pass, but John Stones is able to come across and just sends a pass out to the left-hand side. Cheers from Denmark, because that was going nowhere. That just landed the ball in no man's land, and Denmark were able to take possession. And England are here in Frankfurt. I have to say, they look as though they're on the verge of a crisis.
Well, just disjointed, isn't it? Not coming together at all in terms of being fluid in or out of possession.
Header forward. Andreas Christensen wins it against Bellingham. Then Bellingham in on the challenge to win it back. Turns, but Christian Eriksen's in there as well. And then up to Højlund. Vint, first time pass is actually behind Victor Christiansen. who, with Bellingham still taking time to get up, looks at the referee and walks away, clearly feels that he should have been given a free kick, which he wasn't. So Denmark will come forward again. Mæhle, and then Mæhle back into his own half. Mæhle, the Wolfsburg man who came in, that was the only change that Kasper Hjulmand, the likeable coach of Denmark, this is his third tournament, Gareth Southgate's fourth. Kasper Hjulmand just making that one change today. Denmark with it in the centre circle. 1-1 in the earlier match in this group. Long and forward towards Højlund, who chests it off, played forward by Christian Eriksen, and then Gay is able to clear, but Foden jumping for it, just heads it back to Denmark, and then in goes Rice to try and win it back. Awkward bouncing ball for Bellingham, and then Alexander-Arnold sets off from inside his own half with a run, passes the ball behind Foden. He had Kane, Foden and Saka ahead of him. That was a welcome sight for England, to see Alexander-Arnold taking charge of the situation and England pouring forward. There's been far too little of that from the team. Walker, now to Saka on the right-hand side. Saka up against Victor Christensen, looking to take him on. Victor Christensen, back-pedalling, then the cross to the back post, taken down by Foden, who stabs it. It's actually cleared away, just touched away by Mæhle. But England now are actually taking a bit of initiative here. Trippier into the penalty area. Bellingham strides after it languidly. This tall 20-year-old keeping possession, then giving it back to Kieran Trippier on the left-hand side. Trippier back to Rice, thinks about a shot, does have a low shot which is deflected, but I think it took a bit of the pace off it. It was spinning, but Schmeichel could just drop to his left and hold it.
Yeah, it was one or two little nicks on the way through this ball. I think that a lot of the pace was taken right off it from Højlund, who does a good job getting back to shut Rice down, and it just skips on through to Kasper Schmeichel, who just gathers it up rather easily.
This will be a nervous watch for England supporters. 1-1 the score, but Denmark have given more than as good as they've got from England in this match. Very disjointed from the England team. There must be substitutions on the way, you would think. That's a poor pass forward though from centre field from the Danish goal scorer Hjulmand. That just gives possession back to England. The roof is closed. We've got this canopy style roof to this stadium, which is out to the south of the city. Just under 50,000 people inside, and actually there's a big gap between the top of the stands and that roof, so the sun is shining in streaked across the pitch as England, with John Stones, just wander forward with the ball. Stones then infield to Alexander-Arnold, white shirt just bobbing outside his blue shorts. Trippier, 50th cap for Kieran Trippier, the Newcastle United man. Alexander-Arnold goes for a long high pass. Saka into the penalty area, tries to pull it down, but then as Schmeichel comes out, the defender's in there as well. Saka actually just nods it forward through for a goal kick. And England are going to make a change, and it is Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, as you called, John, to be honest, got it spot on. I think Conor Gallagher, obviously the player coming on to affect the game when England were suffering a little bit against Serbia. He's the man who's just taken his jumper off and is getting some instruction in the technical area.
Let's bring in Conor Cody as well. It had to come.
Tell you what, John, he'd be doing some job if he was up here and down there.
That would be more than box to box. box to commentary box midfielder.
No, I think it's a good call. We mentioned it at half-time, didn't we, about the legs that Conor will give, and he'll come in and there'll be a little bit of agency. I think that's the biggest thing at this moment in time. There's a real lack of agency with England. I don't know if it's tired legs or a little bit lethargic, but we just need a little bit of agency in there.
Yeah, I think Conor Gallagher is waiting to come on as Mæhle hits the pass forward, but Gay's able to head it down. Eriksen on the stretch, then infield, little glancing header forward Hjulmand, but Højlund was coming back from an offside position. And actually, again, the referee could have allowed play to continue there with England on the attack, but he's actually stopped play so that the change can be made, and it is Trent Alexander-Arnold who will be replaced by Conor Gallagher, who, as in the match against Serbia, comes on as a substitute, the Chelsea man.
Yeah, I think it was interesting, we were talking before about being not in the starting 11 and having an impact and kind of playing or earning your way into the team. I think it's a great opportunity for Conor Gallagher to come on and have a positive impact with his energy. You know, Conor's just spoken about needing that in the middle of the park. Well, that's what he brings. He'll run all day and he'll just get after the ball, any loose balls, anything that drops down, applying pressure. So big opportunity for him in this game, which is looking like it is slightly slipping away from England.
It does have that feel. So Conor Gallagher coming on in the 54th minute, and Trent Alexander-Arnold is off, and England in possession of the ball, playing it back to Pickford, just controls it, and then left-footed to the halfway line. Andreas Christensen with a challenge, but Kane saw him coming. It was the England captain who got his head to the ball, and now Bellingham gets the ball down and is off on a run and passes it to Foden, slightly behind Phil Foden, back into the area. Again, Bellingham's low ball across the penalty area, but that is whacked away by Hjulmand, landed at his feet, and he gave it what for and put it out for a throw.
Well, Conor Gallagher turns away because I think he thought about making the run across the path exactly where that ball came in for Bellingham, but he decided to hold the edge of the box, and it was cleared easily. But any kind of run across the face would have been an opportunity.
And actually Denmark are going to make a double change just shortly. I see Mikkel Damsgaard is going to come on. Remember, he scored the free kick against England at Wembley in the semi-final 3 years ago, so he's coming on, and also Alexander Barr, so I guess he'll be coming on for Mæhle on the right hand side. So double change coming for Denmark. Here is Conor Gallagher, long blonde hair tied back. Gallagher now to Saka on the right hand side. Saka taking on Victor Christensen and then playing it infield to Foden. Foden on his left foot shoots low, hits the post, comes out to Saka, but Saka was under pressure from Victor Christensen, who no, his final touch was off Saka. It is a goal kick, but England now hit the post.
Yeah, a bit of snap in the play in this second half. Saka doing his thing, luring the defenders in, sees the open space to slide the ball infield to Foden, who's come all the way across. One touch to control, another one to get out of his feet, and he drives it towards the near post, really low along the ground, and it ricochets off the upright, straight back out into play.
England midfielder Izzy Christensen's down behind that goal.
Yeah, it's a brilliant bit of play from Saka, isn't it? Cuts inside and he finds Foden, and it's a daisy cutter across the surface of the grass by Foden. It fizzes away from the post. Kasper Schmeichel's actually really lucky. It doesn't come back off the post and hit him and ricochet into his own net. But there's a bit of an angle on the ball, but brilliant from Foden, and that's more like it from him.
Double change. It's Vint and Victor Christensen who have come off. So the Brentford man, Mikkel Damsgaard, coming on into the midfield, forward-thinking player, and then Alexander Barr, who started the first match for Denmark against Slovenia. Alexander Barr has come on to play on the right-hand side.
Yeah, he switched with Mæhle's gone
over
the
there,
left.
yeah, to the far side. So the double change from Kasper Hjulmand. The score remains 1-1. The ball out of play for a throw-in to England. So 1-1. It's on BBC One as well. The Euros all across the BBC, all the platforms. The match commentaries at the heart of what we do, where you can rewind a live radio. Not necessarily sure this is one that you will want to listen back to, but we'll see. But all the podcasts are on there as well. The Football Daily. You'll never beat Kyle Walker. Don't attempt fate. But that's all on there. Denmark 1, England 1. And you can listen to the 5 Live commentary, by the way, with the BBC TV pictures. If you go to the iPlayer BBC Sport website and app, it's all synced up. 1-1 with Denmark playing the ball forward down the right-hand side. This is for the newly arrived Damsgaard, who gets the ball into the penalty area. It bounces almost to Christian Eriksen, and Conor Gallagher just got there in the nick of time inside the area to prevent it from doing so. It's out for a throw.
Oh, that's a crucial touch. Højlund does brilliantly. The ball gets looped over. He doesn't try and do anything. He just gets his body across and just chests it into the space. He knows that a midfield player could be arriving.
Throw in from Barr. It's a long one into the penalty area, headed down and then cleared away by Saka on the edge of the box. As Joachim Andersen was put under pressure, and Harry Kane now. Harry Kane goes for a curling pass. What a lovely pass that is, well. Beautifully weighted to Saka. Saka now near the edge of the box. 2 Danish players with him. Saka then turns and shoots across the face of goal, but wide of the far post. But Harry Kane started that.
Better, I don't mind that. I don't mind that kind of positivity. Kane coming inside has that confidence and belief to play the kind of passes that we know he can. And Saka then, OK, they ended up doubling up in that situation, Denmark, and got another player back in there, so he couldn't quite get the scoring or shooting opportunity he wanted, but it's just much better. It's a bit slicker to play quicker. I haven't seen enough of that from England tonight.
Better in the second half? Marginally.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I mean, the way we finished, or certainly the 15 or 10 minutes after we scored in the first half, was was really poor. We just didn't get hold of it at all.
1-1 after Harry Kane shot England in front. Walker, Saka had a little touch as well in the build-up to the Kane goal. Gay heads it on the halfway line, and then a super equaliser from Morten Hjulmand. Excellent shot from between 25 and 30 yards out. England now with Foden. Foden looks up. He's looking for Saka. Left-footed ball right across there to the Arsenal top scorer this season. Takes on Mæhle, beats him. Saka then to the byline, pulls that across, but that's intercepted by Andreas Christensen. And Denmark are able to get it away. England looking to Saka as John Stones passes it all the way back to Pickford, controls it on his thigh and then passes it back to the Manchester City man, John Stones, winning his 74th cap tonight. And then Walker tried to pass it to Stones, passed it straight to Denmark and then conceded a free kick on the left.
Oh, he's frustrated with that, Kyle Walker. He just couldn't quite find the pass. He was a little bit boxed in. He wanted to play inside, but he realised if that pass inside is not the right pass, he puts England bang in trouble, so he holds onto it too long, and then it gives a foul away when Højbjerg makes quite a clean tackle, and it's a wide free kick in a dangerous area.
What happened to Walker there is very typical of what's been happening in this match. It's not right for England.
It's not the same amount of options, are there?
No.
When the Danes get the ball, they appear to have the option.
Danger here, an Eriksson free kick out on the left-hand side. Eriksson plays it in, but it hits Mark Gay, who's 10 yards away. It hits Saka, who's 10 yards away from the ball. And he did well to keep his feet there, Saka. He was reeling.
Yeah, rocked him a bit.
Backwards.
Did rock him, didn't it?
Once, Muhammad Ali fought right here on this patch of land back in the 60s. And that was redolent of what might have been happening that day as England win a free kick for a foul by Gallagher, who is yellow carded. So just minutes after coming on, there's a yellow card for Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, just a little bit late, trying to put some energy, inject a bit of that into the midfield and get after the ball. He doesn't make it. I'm not too sure why he's given a yellow card. I think that's a little bit harsh. I mean, he gets a slight toe, maybe just stands on the top of the foot, but wasn't a particularly vicious challenge.
When we bring in Conor Cody next, maybe Conor, give us an idea of who you might want to see Gareth Southgate call on next from off the substitutes bench. But Denmark have this free kick. Match poised at 1-1, and we have commentary next on one of the big games of the group stage, Spain-Italy, which will come to you live from Gelsenkirchen inside the Schalke Stadium. Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton from 8 o'clock, and the Castleford-Hull KR Super League match will be on Sports Extra tonight, so a choice of listening there. England's cricketers play tomorrow afternoon, by the way. That's on Sports Extra. England against South Africa, live from St Lucia at the T20, which is on right now, Afghanistan, India. Denmark 1, England 1 here at the Euros in England's second group match. England, for most of this match, up against it, uninspiring, and Denmark much brighter. You've got Højbjerg, Pierre-Emil Højbjerg, who started just 10 matches for Tottenham this season. Christian Eriksen just 14 starts for Manchester United. They do look fresh, I have to say, as the ball is played out to the right-hand side by Damsgaard. And then Barr back into Damsgaard inside the penalty area. The Brentford man looking to turn, but Rice came in with a challenge. Kieran Trippier down there, passes it forward to Phil Foden. England penned in their left-back position, played forward. Bellingham just got a header to that. Denmark are onto it. Conor Gallagher comes forward, he heads it on. Comes back to Rice. Rice in danger of losing out. Christian Eriksen onto this, but the left foot shot flies away high over the top of Jordan Pickford's crossbar. But again, England just look uncertain, caught on the ball, losing possession.
It's been a bit of a game of not being settled enough with the ball. We always seem to be like chasing the first touch a little bit, or the first touch is under pressure, which, credit to Denmark, they're pressurising really well, but it's not enabling us to really have good possession or be able to get on the ball and make our passes. Rice, Harry Kane, Foden, Bellingham, they've not had the time to really get on the ball, have a good first touch, be comfortable and find a good option. It's just harassed all the time, which credit to Denmark for that.
Yeah, well, it's still all square, but I think whatever happens here tonight, whether England win, lose or draw, there will be another torrent of criticism for the way that England have played. Here is Walker, on the right-hand side. Saka, then Bellingham, looking strangely tentative. Then back to Pickford on the edge of the penalty area, and the Everton goalkeeper passes it out to Gay, and then forward to Harry Kane, drops into his own half, and Yannick Vestergaard goes with him. Vestergaard, who has been yellow carded but not been put under pressure at all. Now Kyle Walker carries the ball downfield. Bellingham, that's that change of feet again from Jude Bellingham, who just runs into the challenge and loses out to Damsgaard, who passes it forward. Mark Gay gambled there. It was the right decision. He won possession back, then he couldn't hit the pass forward. It was Hjulmand who stepped into it, and then in goes Gay again. The England fans applauding Mark Gay's effort there. Walker, now Saka up against Mela. Steps off. Saka with a cross right across the penalty area. Applause from Phil Foden for the idea from Bukayo Saka, but overhit through goal kick. 1-1.
Yeah, I'm not sure we've really felt that threatening when the ball's wide and we're going to cross it, that we're going to score a goal. I mean, he'd been in good crossing positions, but it's not really looking like we're going to get the ball into the box and somebody's arriving to get on the end of it.
Right, well, I didn't get the chance to say to Conor Cody, Conor, because the changes are coming, and there's going to be 3 of them.
I was going to say them 3, to be fair, John.
I just had an idea that you might. Watkins, Bowen and Eza, 19, 20 and 21. So Eberici Eza going to come into the tournament for the first time, his first taste of tournament action. Bowen, who came on as a substitute the other night, and then Ollie Watkins also first chance to show what he can do on this stage, the big stage, where England really tonight have very often fluffed their lines, and this will be very interesting to see who's coming off, as John Stones is put under pressure by Højlund, and an unforced error, passes it out of play. He was trying to give it to Gay, and that's a corner to Denmark, the cheapest of cheap corners.
Yeah, Declan Rice looking really frustrated. It came into him, but again, there's no comfortable first touch, there's no comfortable situation on the ball, there's pressure all the time, and it's really testing the first touch. Yes, the pitch isn't great, I think the ball is bobbling in a little bit, but you can't make excuses in that sense. It's the same for both teams, and Denmark have been better with their passing, more accurate and more fluent.
Actually, Denmark are going to make the change first, and it's the experienced use of Poulsen, who's coming on to win his 82nd cap, and Manchester United's Rasmus Højlund is off because he has made a nuisance of himself.
It's a big surprise. I think physically he's been a real handful, but Poulsen, he's a big lad. I think they're looking to maybe get the ball in the box and get crosses in.
Yep, RB Leipzig forward. So it's a corner. England aren't making the changes yet. 1-1. Eriksson with the deep corner that bounces right to the edge of the penalty area, still in the England box, comes out to the edge of the box, and then the shot that Pickford is able to control. It was just above his head. He just parried it up in the air, and then on the follow-up was able to gather the ball after the shot. I think it was Andreas Christensen actually who hit that. Comes back to Pickford, and then to Trippier on his right foot, chips it forward to Foden, and then up to Kane. But then Denmark are in on the challenge on Harry Kane, strong and forward from Vestergaard. Højbjerg goes down after a challenge. Denmark, play continues. The ball is chipped out towards the left-hand side. Mela is there, but he can't reach that, and it's a throw into England in the right-back area.
I mean, there's a classic example there about how we just haven't handled the ball well enough in terms of sharpness, first touch. It just seems a little bit loose, John. Almost like we're chasing a bad touch all the time.
Nowhere near, is it?
No.
Right, here come at least the first couple of the changes anyway, and it is Phil Foden who's going to be replaced by Eberici Eza. So on comes England's Crystal Palace man who finished the season in such fine form, and off comes the Premier League player of the season, and Bukayo Saka as well. Is the straight swap there for Jared Bowen on the right. You were kind of expecting this, Matt, and it is Harry Kane who's off. So the England captain substituted, and Ollie Watkins comes on. That's a big call.
You don't see that very often.
You do not.
In games where England need a goal, it's tight, it's 1-1. You don't normally see Harry Kane come off the pitch, but I think such as how the game's gone, just that injection of fresh legs and energy and whatever else that brings, is what Gareth Southgate really feels this game needs to maybe tip it in England's way.
Gareth Southgate walks across, applauding Harry Kane, who comes off the field. You know, remember how he missed football at the end of the season, the back issue that he had, that they told us was absolutely fine. But even so, Conor Cody, to see Harry Kane being substituted at a match at the Euros that's 1-1 with 20 minutes to play.
Yeah, it's a really bold move, but I do like the idea of giving people who've had great seasons a lot of trust in this England team. Ollie Watkins has been fantastic this year, and he fully deserves his place on this pitch at the minute, so I'm all for giving people them opportunities because he's been brilliant all year.
Yeah, the Aston Villa top scorer, the 27-goal top scorer, Ollie Watkins. Well, what an opportunity this is now, and England changing the front three here. Saka, Kane and Foden are off, and it is Bowen, Watkins and Eza who are on. About 2 months ago, we weren't expecting that, were we?
No, but I think it's a big moment in the game for England. I mean, maybe it can just spark a little bit more in this last 20 minutes or so. Still a big stage of this game left to play.
The thing is, England have got to get the ball to them, and that's been an issue. As Trippier hits a right-footed pass, that's nowhere near Watkins. And Denmark, Vestergaard's able to take that down and just pass it infield to his central defensive partner. But Walker's onto this at pace, gets there ahead of Mela. Walker near the right corner of the box. He's actually been forced away wide. Bowen's got involved for the first time. Jared Bowen wins a throw in. Walker takes it. Gallagher turning the full 360 degrees back to Walker, who goes back to the halfway line. 20 minutes to go here. Spain-Italy on the way, live from Gelsenkirchen. But a massive 20 minutes for Gareth Southgate's England. It is 1-1. You know, if you're listening to the tenor of what we're saying, you'll be thinking, you know, hang on, what's going on? But, you know, this is nowhere near the performance that Gareth Southgate and England were looking for. Here's Eza, deep lying position. England will want him to run at the defence. Bellingham through, Watkins for the chance from the angle, but Schmeichel comes out sliding to block it behind. It's a corner, that's more like it.
Yeah, just a little sample of those really busy runs that Ollie Watkins make. He bends it nicely, he is onside. He thought it was going to be given offside, but he gets there. Schmeichel comes out well, the angle's tight, but that's classic Ollie Watkins. Lovely run, just bent round into the corner of the box, and lovely pass from Bellingham, I think it was.
Yes, it was. Jared Bowen, 10th cap tonight. He's going to take the corner from the right-hand side. England's first corner of the match. Bowen into the near post, comes up a Denmark head, comes out to Trippier. Trippier nods it square to Gallagher. Gallagher rather awkwardly, he's given it away. In fact, he couldn't find Eza. Denmark could break forward. Christian Eriksen's the man who's furthest forward, but Gallagher's able to come back and prevent his forward motion, but then it's taken on by Poulsen, a back heel from him. Bowen slips over. Christian Eriksen tries to play it into the penalty area, blocked by Gallagher, who's certainly showing that energy that England need. But chasing shadows here, because Denmark again with Christian Eriksen. What a story this is after what happened 3 years ago. Eriksen right at the heart of things for Denmark. And they go back, Kasper Hjulmand's side, back to the halfway line. They're certainly winning this on points, talking about boxing. Here again, Mela having switched flanks. Vestergaard, a little flick by Christian Eriksen. Then the shot from distance, the Pickford goes down, pushes it away. The shot from Højbjerg, saved by the Everton goalkeeper. And then a foul and a yellow card. Mela just dived in, rather, on Jared Bowen, who gets the free kick, and a yellow card for Mela for that. 1-1.
The flick from Eriksen, the tiny little touch he put in there was just exquisite, just enough to just flick it round the corner into the path of his teammate, who gets the shot off. Pickford parries to the right hand side, and as per the whole game, Mela goes in for the tackle, and a big chunk of turf flies up in the air and onto the ground. I think Bowen stopped really awkwardly just before that and went and felt his ankle afterwards. He just put the brake on. I think this is mainly happening when people are putting the brakes on, John. Yes, it's just collapsing underneath their feet.
Yeah, the pitch has been nowhere near what you would want for a match of this calibre after all of the rain. So soft. Oh, the ball is won back by Watkins near the edge of the penalty area. Challenge comes in. Schmeichel's going to do well to reach that. No, he can't. Sprinting away to his left. And Ollie Watkins has looked sharp, and Ollie Watkins and Bellingham as well, just turning Bellingham to the England fans in the stands and waving his arms and saying, come on, because Denmark, they've been the noisiest. I don't think there's any doubt about that, because that's what's reflected what's been happening on the field. Corner then, Bowen to take this. Jared Bowen places it down in the quadrant. Eberechieze goes over there as an option, but I think he will swing it in to the near post. Here it is, and it's headed away by Højbjerg and will bounce out of play near the halfway line for an England throw in. Eza, who's still over there on that far side, actually just leaves it to Kyle Walker, and Walker takes a quick throw down the line to Jared Bowen. Bowen then misplaces a pass out of play. I did wonder whether it had taken it and Walker was just holding on to the ball, and the Danish fans are saying, hang on, what about a yellow card for Kyle Walker? But referee Suarez Diaz has been kind again to England.
Yeah, whether or not it was long enough for a yellow card, the referee didn't feel so. I mean, he did jog away with the ball as opposed to just releasing it. There was a big cry from those Danish fans, all sat over the far side of the stand.
Remember Qatar, the second match there, the 0-0 with the United States?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember the last Euros, the second match there, the 0-0 with Scotland?
Yes. Were they better than this one from England performance standpoint?
I would say on a par. Yeah, and there was a reaction to that, as there will be a reaction to this, because England have not played very well. That's a simple matter.
I think you accept that you're never going. You can't be at your best all the time, and you've got to. If it's not a good day, you make the best of a bad day, don't you?
Yeah.
And as long as England see this through to a point and get through to the third group stage game with 4 points, it's not a bad return, John.
That's well played by Bowen. No, he's actually committed the foul on Vestergaard on the halfway line, so it's a free kick to Denmark, just to the left of the centre circle. The third match in the group. And remember, if England were able to turn this round and snatch a winner, that would be them through as group winners. But that is not looking the most likely outcome here. The third match is on Tuesday, and that's a night match, that's a late match as well, 8 o'clock UK time, against Slovenia, who I thought looked quite dangerous against Serbia today. Denmark won, England won. Denmark again on the front foot. Eriksson back to Højbjerg, who's going to have a goal from distance through a crowd of players. That Jordan Pickford was able to deal with that and give it out to Kyle Walker, and then urges him, sends him on his way, short pass to Gallagher. Gallagher couldn't find the ball back to Walker. It's back to Denmark again, and the thousands and thousands of Danish fans roar their team on again. It's one of their national characteristics, isn't it? Roaring. And here, the ball on the halfway line with Denmark. Now, back to the right-hand side, to Joachim Andersen. We are into the last 15 minutes now. Gareth Southgate stalks and walks around, rather anxious-looking. Gay against Poulsen. The two of them tangling. The ball runs away for what is given as a goal kick. Poulsen can't believe it.
He's making a gesture to the referee. There was a hefty pullback from Mark Gehi. I think Gehi's trying to see the ball out of play. Poulsen kind of nudges him out of the way, and then there's almost a bit of a headlock moment going on. I don't think there's a foul there. I think Poulsen goes down really easily. It is a bit scrappy. And I think Pickford's looking at the situation, thinking, I'm just going to go long here at the moment. I'm not going to tickle the ball short. We haven't been good enough with the ball, certainly in our defensive third, to risk playing out at the moment. But if he does go long, what happens is exactly what did happen. You turn the ball over, it gets headed back to Kasper Schmeichel, and now Denmark start to build again from the back.
Yeah. Conor Cody is here with us, the Leicester City and England man. Be interesting to hear, Conor, when we get a chance, as Denmark play one forward towards Pickford, who's going to deal with that easily. You know what the tournament mindset and thought will be right now inside the England camp with Gareth Southgate after a match and a performance like this. But just hang on, because England with Gallagher give it to Walker. Walker then turns, and back it goes to John Stones. Just over 10 minutes to go here in Frankfurt with the sun shining. John Stones, ball at his feet, dappled sunshine, moves through it to his left, gives it to Gay, and then Eberechieze, who's not had a chance to run, and then passes the ball forward. Ollie Watkins chases after it. I'm not sure he'll catch up with it. No, he reached it just as it got to the white line, put his foot on it, and it rolled over. So, come in Conor Cody.
Yeah, I think a big thing for me, John, is Listen, I think we can all see here that England haven't been at the best. I think England haven't played great. I think Denmark have been better. And I think a big one, even though you want to win these games, I think it's important they don't lose this now. I think 12 minutes to go. I think the mentality is, if you can go and win it with the players who've come on, who have given England a little bit of life, I'll be honest. I think with Ollie Watkins running in behind and Eze and Bowen running in behind, I think they give them a bit of life. But I think it's important now they do not lose this game in the next 12-15 minutes.
Yeah, and we talked, Matt, you and I, on air and off air, about England growing into the tournament. Actually, they've gone in the other direction in this match.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Well, if the result stays like this, that would be the case, and the performance probably. Definitely with the ball, it's really surprising. We haven't managed to really be confident and control it at all.
As I caught in possession by Højbjerg, he's fortunate. Fortunate there. The referee has been again kind to England. Højbjerg, Poulsen, who felt he should have had a free kick a few moments earlier against Gay.
I think it was the assistant that flagged as well, but I think Højbjerg is close enough to the ball to warrant that kind of contact. The ball is identical distance between him and Eze. He has a right to use his body there and try and manoeuvre him out of the way, and he does that well.
Denmark 1, England 1. Commentary to come from 8 o'clock UK time. Spain against Italy, don't miss that. Gay with a pass forward over the halfway line, looking for Eze. England want to try and get him running at the Denmark defence, but it's Denmark in possession. Back it goes towards the halfway line. The quite long-haired Joachim Andersen, talking about all of the Crystal Palace men in the England team. Here's one in the Danish side out. And so you've got Eze up against his teammate Joachim Andersen, who turns, sees Eze in front of him, and then very quickly passes it back to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's not quite got the Griezmann, George Michael blocks, has he?
No,
he's having a go.
Griezmann's unmatched.
No.
As the ball bounces out for a throw on the far side for England. That was a little sloppy by Denmark. Excellent performance from Denmark. Massive improvement from them on their first match, should be said, against Slovenia. And Kasper Hjulmand's going to make another couple of changes. I see Andreas Skov Olsen's coming on, the Bruges player. He's a winger. And also, I think that's Christian Norgard, isn't it, of Brentford? It is, who's coming on. So another of the Brentford men, Thomas Frank, their manager, part of our coverage. John Stones goes for a long pass from the halfway line. That's headed down and away by Joachim Andersen. That's given away by Hjulmand to Jude Bellingham, who's been very quiet in the second half. Bowen tries to slip in Watkins on the edge of the area. That's turned away by Christensen out to the far side, and it's a throw-in to England down there.
He always has a positive touch, Jared Bowen. Wherever he goes, he likes to take the ball with him, or he steps in so well. Very nearly finds Ollie Watkins. You just can't take the ball with him when he slides the ball forwards from coming inside off the line.
And it's the goal scorer. England substituted their goal scorer, the captain Harry Kane. Denmark are taking theirs off, Morten Hjulmand. And Christian Eriksen's also walking towards this side of the field. Yeah, that's it. That's going to be the end of his afternoon. He's equalled Simon Kjær's record here, Christian Eriksen. He's now the joint most capped player for Denmark at the age of 32. His 132nd cap. He's been excellent.
Oh, he's been brilliant. Really good. I mean, he's just controlled so many matters of the game. He's pulling strings, he's finding space. Just, you know, they always say about top players, but he looks so relaxed and comfortable in the space. He never looks rushed at all. No, his first touch,
he really
passing.
looks like he's come back to the Euros, where those awful events happened 3 years ago, with a real determination to put that absolutely in the past. 1-1, 5 Live, BBC Sounds. It's on BBC One as well if you're nearly home. And Denmark, after the England throw, they lose possession. England, Denmark with a little flick infield, but that gives it back to Rice. That's a little short from Gay, and he's lost it, and now it's taken forward by Barr into the England area, and then excellent recovery from Mark Gay to put in the challenge, because Barr was in two minds there, whether to shoot or whether to centre it, and Gay took advantage of that, dived in, put in the tackle.
He did. He tried to it was a difficult ball back to him. He didn't have a lot of option. Tried to win it, but then you can only gauge a mistake by the reaction. His reaction is absolutely spot on. Gets his head down, pumps his arms, works his way back in to the penalty box, and gets a really important block in. But I think the pitch might have done us a little favour there as well, John. It was just bobbling up, and I don't think Barr was too happy with it.
Skov Olsen with the corner into the near post. Oh, a chance, and that's scooped over the bar. And actually, he was falling there, and I think possibly slipping as well as he went for goal.
Was it Christensen?
It was Andreas Christensen, and scooped it over from 6 yards out. I say scooped it over, he skied it.
Yeah, well, should score, really. He just can't step in. It's a difficult one if your body weight's not forward and you're leaning back, which he was, is why the ball went so high. But Poulsen really made himself a handful.
England have lost it again. Denmark take it on towards the edge of the penalty area. Gallagher's in there. Right foot shot, curling, narrowly wide of the top corner. Flashes past Jordan Pickford's left post. Goodness me. And England there again losing possession. Oh, so close.
Gareth Southgate pointing to the side of his head as if to say, focus. We've lost our focus, and it's been like that for big parts of this football match. Højbjerg looking to the skies, because that is a great opportunity with his right foot. He's got the marker of a player in front of him. Just bend it round and hit the target. It's in the back of the net. He puts it wide. It's a real let-off for England.
Oh, massive. Christensen from the corner, then Højbjerg with that shot. And England, at this rate, the phrase that you'll use will be escape with a draw.
I mean, we have to go long with the ball, John, every time. I don't think Pickford feels comfortable even setting up to play out at the moment. Like Connor said a while ago, just get through this game 1-1, and then we'll have a row about it afterwards and debrief. But keep it at 1-1 and get your point.
We're into the last 5 minutes now, and England look a world away from winning the Euros on the evidence of what's happened here in this match. Having taken the lead in the 18th minute, Mark Gay long and right-footed, Bellingham forward, Gallagher and Bowen chasing after it, but it is Denmark in possession. Mailer out there, back to the halfway line, across it comes to Højbjerg. Højbjerg gets it under control, passes it to the right-hand side. This is where Alexander Barr is chasing, but he won't reach that, and it's out of play. And it's a throw-in to England. Well, it's been a torrid experience for Gareth Southgate and England.
I mean, Declan Rice, I'm looking at his body language, and normally you see Declan Rice and he's got that kind of strut about him. He looks exhausted. And I think he's having to get around the pitch. I think there's space all around him. He's putting in so much work but getting very little reward in terms of interceptions, challenges. He's just probably feeling he's 1 or 2 yards off everyone all the time.
Eze passes it infield, very nearly give it to Poulsen. Now Gallagher, who's hauled over. That's a free kick. Christian Norgard yellow carded for that. Yellow card for the number 15, and England free kick, and that's very welcome. Anything now, any breather, any chance to break up the play. Stones out to the far side. Denmark singing their songs. Here's Bowen, goes on a run, but is easily dispossessed by Højbjerg. Now Poulsen then back into the back line to Joachim Andersen. Sun comes brightly out again through the gaps between the stand and the roof, and Denmark with 3 minutes to play, and the score still level at 1-1. We'll bring you the interviews. We'll bring them live if we can before Spain-Italy. Otherwise, you'll hear them later, or on the Football Daily at the Euros, which will be available for you from BBC Sounds in the morning from the usual places. But Denmark with the ball with their 3 central defenders. Kasper Hjulmand making that little change that we saw, the change of position for the central defenders. It's been a savvy performance from Denmark and Kasper Hjulmand, as the ball is England's for a free kick on Conor Gallagher in the centre circle.
It's interesting, the 2 centre-backs have switched. I think since Saka went off, Christensen's gone into the middle and Vestergaard is on the left-hand side of the back 3. I think they've, in terms of game plan and tactically and the togetherness they've had, it's been very good from Denmark. They've given a good account of themselves and made life very difficult for England.
Yeah, and all Danish fans, and I'm sure many of the Danish players as well, really upset about the way things went against them at Wembley in the semi-final. Well, they've really given England a fright here. Walker now from the free kick goes for a long pass. Now that's got way too much on it. Cheers from the Danish fans who are mocking England, really.
Well, I can understand
goading them
with set plays like that. I mean, it's pretty basic, isn't it? Just roll it right and the ball in. It's not been it's not been great in quality, has it, from England? You have to say that, but we're still in it, scrapping away. You have to try and take a positive from that sense. It's 1-1, but performance-wise, it's not been up to scratch.
This is absolutely, confidence looks shot as the ball comes forward off the head of Poulsen all the way through to Jordan Pickford. So there will be all of the questions. What is it? Why is this? Where are they? They'll talk about the leaders as well, and whether there's enough of that out on the pitch as Stones passes the ball here, and it's played in field by Trippier, Eze, and then Declan Rice. Gay passes it back along the 6-yard area to Pickford. They don't go long, they go to Stones, and then it's passed out to Gallagher, who's inside the penalty area, then back to Walker. Denmark pressing England back, and Stones, fortunate, is able to win a throw-in via a deflection. And it feels like they're like a cat on a hot tin roof at England.
Yeah, but I also think Denmark can sense that there's a mistake there. Something's coming. They're just going all the way out. The moment it goes short.
Never mind Denmark.
Yeah, I know. I think we're all sat here. I'm just looking to my left and my right. We're all a little bit edgy. Everyone's, the raised eyes to everyone like, oh, what's going on? But we just don't look comfortable having the ball in that part of the pitch.
Eze wins a free kick off his clubmate, Joachim Andersen, arm on his shoulder as they went down. Andersen, they'll talk about that next season. Free kick taken by England, and we are into added time now. There are just 3 minutes. What a blessed relief for England, although Bellingham is dispossessed, but he was fouled, says referee Artur Suarez Diaz, in the free kick. And of course there will be discussion as well about what's happened to Bellingham tonight. Just flashes of what he can do.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to get in the game, and then because it's so disjointed in terms of the structure and where he is without the ball, he's not really been able to play the role out of possession that he probably needs to, and it's everything's stretched, nothing's tight and organised and assured. It's been very open.
1-1 in added time. England take an edge over the taking of this free kick and are dangerously flirting with a yellow card there for Pickford, who does eventually take it. And then there's a foul on Gay by Poulsen. The Danish fans are absolutely furious about that. Stones wanted to take a quick one, but the referee says, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm going to bring it back for a free kick. And Poulsen again gets to his feet and says, I've only been on the field a few minutes and you've not given me anything.
Yeah, but in fairness, he's trying to step across the path of Mark Guehi, who's coming on to attack the ball, and he's had a whack on the side of his knee because Guehi's knee went right into the side of his thigh. But you can't just step across the path of a player going to head it. You're going to get clattered, and that's what happened.
Free kick then for England in added time. 90 seconds of the added time to go. If they get a goal out of this and win the match, I mean, that would be such an escape for England. But the free kick is easily headed away on the edge of the Danish area. Comes back to Pickford in his own half. He goes long, left-footed, looking for Bowen on the far side. That's headed down though for Denmark, and then Gallagher into the challenge, loses out to Mæhle. Denmark played across the back line to Joachim Andersen. Now Barr, long ball from Barr. Trippier's underneath it. Trippier goes down, he gets the free kick for the shove by Skål Olsen, and he stays flat on his face, Kieran Trippier, and Declan Rice says to Gay, don't take it yet. That's where they are.
Yeah, just slow down. Little shove in the back of Trippier, wins the foul. Just take the sting out of it, slow it down a little bit. We're just in possession now with John Stones.
And so England eventually do take the free kick with less than 30 seconds of added time to go. The pass back to Pickford, who retreats into his area and clears it left-footed with Poulsen closing him down, comes through the middle to Watkins, then Bellingham, who scored so many late goals for Real Madrid this season. Eze into the penalty area, Eze plays it across, almost reaches Bowen on the edge of the box. Mæhle just got there first. It actually might just now open up for England in the final 30 seconds as it's chipped by Stones to the far side. Walker back to Stones. I'll make it the 3 minutes are up now. Referee says that's it. Final whistle. And listen to this reaction from the England supporters. Listen to this. Whistles and jeers and boos all around the stadium here in Frankfurt. That has been a torrid match for Gareth Southgate and his team. England players drop down, Trippier's on his back, Rice goes down onto his haunches. Walker down there, he's having a stretch. What a night this was. From such a high of Harry Kane giving England the lead in the 18th minute. But from that point on, Denmark took over, and England have been all over the place at times. Yeoman equalising with a very good goal 10 minutes before the break, but somehow they've got out of that with a point.
Yeah, the play before that goal, John, was pretty steady from England, wasn't it? We were knocking the ball around, looking confident. OK, Denmark maybe were feeling their way into it, but the moment they did, and that goal was a reaction point. They all of a sudden kicked in Denmark and lost a bit of fear. We thought we've gone one goal down, right, let's start to play our game, and we couldn't get to grips with it. Didn't get hold of the ball, didn't cope with the amount of possession, couldn't apply pressure. We looked disjointed in the midfield, and that really is the catalyst to a lot of the problem. But it was a disappointing performance, there's absolutely no doubt in that. But we get away with it with a 1-1 draw. It's a point, you move on to the next game, you regroup. It's tournament football. Is it great at the moment? Are England on a good run of form? No, we're not. We're not playing that well.
They simply do not look as though they're building into this tournament. They look as though they're going the other way. And there we are. Denmark won, England won, and the England players going to the England fans, those of whom are still in the stadium, Mark.
That was actually going to be my point to Izzy Christensen, who's touchline. But first of all, are you going down to do interviews?
Yes, I am. All right.
Nothing doesn't really work on the radio, to be honest with you.
You would have thought in all of my years.
I mean, there'll be an interesting point here, John, because I guess some of them will talk about the pitch, but it was the same for both teams.
Same for both teams, and they're professional players, Connor. They're not going to use that as an excuse. There's no dressing it up.
They will mention something.
Well, they will, which they are entitled to do.
Yeah, you can't mention the pitch. It's nothing to do with the pitch. You can talk about the pitch if you want. I think it's more looking and dissecting and looking in the mirror at where England are at the minute. I actually think we look a little bit tired, if I'm being honest with you. I think we look a little bit lethargic. I think we look, and it's full credit to Denmark, by the way, they came and put on a performance, but I just think we look a little bit leggy at this moment in time with England.
I'm going to go down pitch side to Izzy, because the first thing I noticed, Izzy, was you look behind you, they have stayed to a man, woman and child in the Danish end. The English end is half empty.
Yeah, that is the stark contrast, isn't it, chappers? I think these Danish fans have absolutely loved that performance from their team. It was full of heart, grit. They looked sharp, they were fizzing the ball around the pitch. And I thought they were more streetwise than England. I really do. I think they were smart in the way they played out of pressure. And I think that England team, I think the biggest thing that stands out to me is the body language. They looked dejected. As soon as the full-time whistle went, Kieran Trippier fell onto the floor. He had to lie down. Players were falling to their knees. The fans are going, like you say. And it just seems to be a very weird atmosphere. So it's up to the staff, it's up to the substitutes on that bench now for England to pick the team right back up again, because tournament football is all about momentum, as we know.
I have to say, Matt, I was thinking the same thing watching. I thought the body language at times was awful, really. I mean, I don't know whether they are tired but there was a lot of shrugging, pointing.
I've not watched England with an energetic performance for a while, though. I will say this isn't something that's come to the table recently. I think building into the March fixtures, certainly the Iceland game, the Serbia game, and the worrying bit for me is that we look quite leggy relatively early on in the game. It's not just the last 10 minutes where we look tired. I think the movement off the ball, the energy to get away and make space, and then obviously you're then adjusting again when the ball turns over, that coming in to going out and up and down and getting the line up, condensing the pitch, then making it bigger. It's a massive amount of work, and we just don't look like we've quite got that energy in us.
No, it's been an issue. Before I go,
on the pitch. We're on the pitch.
It's been an issue, hasn't it? The games in March, the performance against Brazil for the most part, parts of the Belgian game.
Did you feel that?
And then into the games in June before the tournament, the first half against Bosnia and Herzegovina, the whole thing against Iceland, the second half against Serbia. That's the worry, that it's not absolutely coming out of the blue.
No.
Yeah, I also think it's affected us. When we get on the ball then, so it's draining a little bit of confidence. There was an opportunity in the first half, I think I turned to Chappers, when Trent could have played forward. On that one he could have played forward, and we just take the easy pass backwards. And a team like Denmark, where they sit in that low block and they're comfortable and they stop players coming through, it suits them. And I just think that's eking into our game a little bit, just turning down, playing forward.
But also once it started to go, then towards into the second half, it looked like somebody put a hoover and was sucking confidence out of the players. Whenever Pickford had the ball, to have it short was just not an option. Jordan Pickford made good decisions just to go long.
One of the things, Izzy, that I thought, in all of this, Denmark deserve a massive amount of praise here. We are obviously looking at it from an English point of view. Denmark, both in and out of possession, I thought were brilliant today. And England fans may go, well, it's only been a draw and England have got 4 points. But what I noticed with Denmark, whether in or out of possession, they always knew where they had to be for their teammate. There was a lot of pointing, there was a lot of directing, there was a lot of cajoling. They always knew where they needed to be.
Yeah, and I've always thought that being a player, the biggest thing you need is role clarity. And Connor said it at the end of the first half, that they've been playing this system for a long time. 3 at the back, 5 across the middle and 2 up front. That changes, it looks different during the game. But fundamentally they play with a 3 back. Everyone knows their roles. And you look at those 3 centre-backs for Denmark and you're like, none of them are rapid. None of them are very good at coming in to the ball. None of them are exceptional at playing out from the back when they've got the ball. But what they do is they work as a team, they work as a unit. And I think that was the difference between the 2 teams. And I just think that the intelligence and the balance that they've got in that team between Eriksen and the midfield and the forwards, it just works. And sometimes when you've played a system, the same system for a long period of time, and you've got the players that buy into that, it helps and it works. And Denmark are the team coming away from this match this evening with momentum.
That back 3, Connor, they knew when to step into midfield if they had to go and pick someone up who come into the inside channel. They knew when to hold their line. And in front of them, we said it to each other during the second half, thought Højbjerg was absolutely immense for the
fantastic. He was fantastic, but we spoke about before the game, me and Matt, about getting the ball to Saka and trying to hit in that channel. I can't remember the time that we done that, Matt, do you know what I mean? I can't remember the time where we pulled out centre-backs, places where we don't want to be as centre-backs, we don't want to be on the touchline defending, and I can't remember the time England done that. But like you said, great credit to Denmark. They step up the pitch, they're aggressive when they need to be aggressive. But what gets me in that formation is how comfortable you can be in a mid-block when the other team's got the ball and say, OK then, come and beat us and let's see what you do.
Do you not think you're talking about like fundamentals there though, Connor, in terms of if you're going to get the ball out to Saka, you've got to have fast, quick ball that's crisp, that's bang, that has tempo and it has energy, and you're driving that out there, and it's a clip. It never felt like that right from the off. Yes, we had some controlled possession, but it wasn't that progressive, aggressive stuff, and then we're waiting on somebody to do something individually. And then I think if that then doesn't happen, you're in trouble, and you get a performance like what we've had.
Well, when Eza came on, Izzy, I don't think he touched the ball till we got to second half stoppage time, and you're sort of thinking, well, just go on, try going in the inside forward line and someone get the ball to him and see what you could do, but they never got the ball to him.
Well, they didn't, because of the height of the back line of Denmark and the space in between them and the midfield. The 3 players that came on, Bowen, Watkins and Eza, they just weren't able to get a foothold in the game and to find and feel the rhythm of the match, because Denmark was so intelligent. It was Anderson, wasn't it, his club teammate up against him from Crystal Palace. As he came on, Anderson kind of, had that assurance around his body language. I'll deal with this. He's a good player, Eza, but he just didn't get a sniff in the game. A couple of times Ollie Watkins ran the channels, but the ball drifted out of play and it just didn't quite work. And that's where England have got to think outside the box a little bit and go, OK, if there's no space in behind, we've got to play around them. And that's where Connor's alluding to, with getting the ball out to Saka quickly, getting midfielders around him to combine and suck players out of their shape. But fundamentally, listen, we've got to sit here and give massive credit to Denmark. That was an unbelievable performance from them.
If you're in this England camp now, you know what's coming. I know they shut the noise out and all of that, and maybe they'll be honest about how they feel they've performed tonight. But somehow you have to focus on 4 points, top of the group, and kind of park this, don't you? It's for us to dissect it. they partly need to park it.
Yeah, without a doubt. But what I will say is they'll debrief it, they'll go over it, because that's the best way to learn from it, and you've got to learn from it. Listen, them players are playing on the biggest stage. There's a lot of players in that squad, on that pitch tonight, who played at this stage numerous times and will understand the feeling of what they're going through. They'll understand the feeling of the supporters. And what I will say is they will debrief it. That's something that Gareth Southgate always does with his team. But one thing that you said you've got to do, you've got to look at the group and go, right, we're on 4 points. We can only get better. We have to get better to get anywhere near winning this tournament. We have to get better, and that's all part of debriefing the game and learning and improving.
We're not in a good moment, and it's not just happened. Yeah. It's been a steady thing, and to get 4 points playing badly in 2 games, you've got to step back and go, well, hold on a minute, we're not bad then. In terms of we've got some talent, or we've got some robustness, or we've got some togetherness, or we'll defend and we'll scrap it out, but we won't play very well. I've got to say, every player is running their heart out. To be honest, everyone looks tired, fatigued. It's not coming together. I'm not stepping back, going, well, we look a little bit, we're not. It's not that. It's just not happening, and it's not going well. But to have 4 points is a great position.
When Harry Kane was brought off, Kyle Walker took the captain's armband. Here he is with Kelly Summers.
Well, it all started so well, but unlike Sunday, you didn't get the result. Can you explain that England performance?
I think it's tournament football. Listen, this is a good Denmark team, and we're top of the group. So let's try and take a positive from this game. And we're not lost. We've conceded, a great strike from outside the box, and sometimes you have to go goals. I thought the first goal this time we've done well and set off really well as we did the other day, but we managed not to see the game out. But we're top of the group, so let's move on to the next game.
You were getting forward as a team, and both yourself as well, so much early on. Why did that change?
I think it's just the game. It's the game. You're sensing the game, you're sensing their feeling. They probably had the upper hand in certain parts of the game, so you go for that. As defenders, you try and think of what if, rather than me charging forward, they go and score, and then all of a sudden they're blaming us as defence that we're not in position. So, listen, we've got enough up front to go and score goals, and we've got enough, as a team to go and defend. So, listen, let's take it as a point, a well-deserved point, and we'll move on to the next game.
Is the manager telling you to drop back deeper once you do score?
No. Listen, the manager's expressed that he wants us to play free attacking football. Sometimes in tournament football you have to manage the game. It is what it is. That's why it's so hard to win tournaments. Just as like the Champions League.